Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marshall Season 2 of The Mandalorian. We're going to do something slightly different to what we were originally going to do. We're going to do it as a watch-along and discussion. So if you do have the episode and you want to join us for it, you can. If not, it doesn't matter because we're going to be discussing it as we're watching. So you will hopefully be able to follow what we're actually talking about, hopefully. So I've got a couple of guests here with me, and if I'm going to bring them on now in a second, but I just want to see who's in the chat first because let me see. I don't know what's going on with this computer. I'm having a computer-wise bad. I just hope we just finished actually season 1 review. It wasn't as long as I hoped, but we got as much in as we could. And it's downloading now, so I will throw that up a little bit later on. But I see everybody is here on Hail Chat. Right, let's bring them on. Our guests that we have joining us tonight. So as you can see, I have my little baby Yoda there with me, Mando, and then up here, my little gift there. See Mando there and baby Yoda joining forces, or the child. Sorry. Right, let's bring our guests on because 2 of them are big Star Wars fans. So it's Chris says Favreau to head all Star Wars. This is the way. I agree. This is the way. Right, let's bring on our guests. We got the one and only. I'm not going to do big intros anymore because I'm shit at them. But I'm going to bring on our first guest. It's the one and only. He's called me sidekick. Or maybe we're evil Satan, whatever you want to call us. It's the one and only Lee.
Right. Yeah, he's a problem. He's a being. He's a problem being.
Yes, you are.
See what I did there?
Welcome, mate. Nice to have you again. We just finished our season 1 review, which was fun. Can't wait for this one now to do the watch along. But exciting episode to come up anyway. We'll get into more details. But how are you doing so far? How are you doing?
Yeah, not too shabby. Thank you very much.
Good, that's good. And I'm feeling, by the way, anybody worried, I'm feeling a little bit better today. So I'm not in as much pain as I was last night, which was seriously, it was excruciating. But I'm good today. Right, but let's bring on our next guest. Because this lad has knowledge that I even don't have about Star Wars. Because, I wasn't really a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, I was thinking, you and your encyclopedic knowledge of Star Wars.
Yeah. So we're going to bring on a human encyclopedia of Star Wars knowledge. It's the one and only Ninja Knight.
How's everyone?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. And how are you?
Good. Super. I like being called a human encyclopedia. It usually doesn't happen, but I feel it's a little bit applicable to certain areas of the fandom personally.
You're on the spectrum for Star Wars, I'll say that. It's undeniable.
So how are you? Everybody's doing well, yeah?
Everyone's good, yeah, and I have to say, I am going to preface this by saying that this is an episode that I'm going to be more than biased about, I have to say, because this was something that I really enjoyed. And if anybody hasn't seen it yet, what were you doing? What have you been doing?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, we'll get into it when we're watching it, but we have seen some corners of the fandom, and I mentioned this in season 1, the whole review that we did. There's still some fans very cautious, and as we said in our season 1 review, you guys can kind of understand that to a certain extent. But season 2 does start off with a bang. Let's be honest.
I think what we know about season 2, particularly some of the alleged changes that happen, and particularly for me, the appearance of one character in Ahsoka Tano, it certainly feels like the rug is underneath our feet, and it's only a matter of time before it gets pulled. Now, I am praying to the Jedi that we get along with this one, and this one doesn't get nuked by the powers that be in Kathleen Kennedy. I hope that this season does go well and it does treat everything the way it should be. I find Ahsoka Tano a character that is a massive problem. I felt when I heard the news of her coming into this that it was Dave Filoni sneaking one of his little pet characters into this series, and that worries me greatly. And if you can get something like that past Favreau, I would be very conspicuous about this. I'd be very suspicious about what could happen in this season. But I'm hoping that they treat it well, that they use it well, and that they explain it well, particularly for a lot of the old trilogy and prequel trilogy fans that haven't watched any of the Filoni Clone Wars, which is, in my opinion, the inferior Clone Wars compared to Genndy Tartakovsky's wonderful Clone Wars.
Interesting. I mean, this is gonna be very interesting viewing over the next couple of weeks. I mean, to see where they actually take all of this. And Ninja Knight is kind of, he does have a point about this character. Now, I don't know much about this character, but I believe I listen to Ninja Knight and then I listen to Rabbi's side. But I would have to say I do have the, I would say that Ninja Knight's worries are legitimate.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, listen, we've been led down the garden path by the nose by Disney for a number of years now, and as everyone is more than fully aware, how that bait and switch kind of treatment of the fandom has been more than prolific. And I think that anyone with an ounce of sense will come into this with a certain sense of trepidation. And again, very warranted, because we have been so sorely mistreated by these fanatics that seem absolutely obsessed with tearing down Western culture and modern day myth. And to me, I can't understand that mindset. I think it takes a special kind of evil, really, to want to do something so kind of sacrilegious, really, in terms of how precious and how dear and how close to our childhood these things are, that they feel that they can go in there and upset everything about it and taint it to such a toxic, to borrow their word, level that it can ruin people's childhoods. I mean, that is some serious level of fucked uppery going on inside people's minds who run these things into the ground like that. I mean, to me, it seems more than a coincidence that it's happened to so many franchises, that it can't be anything more than a concerted effort to do this on purpose, which is bizarre, to me. And I think that a lot of people are just so demoralized by it, and understandably again. So I think when we get something like The Mandalorian come along, people are going to be like, no, about this. But to be pleasantly surprised as I was with the first series, and its quite overt lack of social messaging going on, which is great, because God knows I'm tired of being educated by these sanctimonious pricks on top of the hill, telling us how to think, feel, and what to do, what to think, how to say things, how not to say identity. It's a refreshing breath of fresh air, and it's been so long. It's literally like lying on the operating table, starved of oxygen for I don't know how many hours, and all of a sudden, you're sort of coming around, and it's like there's a haze, and people are like a bit heady and disoriented, and it's like, oh, what's this? Something that's not gonna fucking do my head in? Wow, that's amazing. All of a sudden I mean, we have to be careful not to have too much of a rose-tinted glasses on this, because it can easily go wrong at any point.
Yeah.
As it's wont to do usually. So I'm cautiously optimistic for series 2. It's a good start. It's not the greatest opening, but I do think that it did the job, and it made me happy. It entertained me. The pacing was great. The story is solid. It's not complicated, as is the sort of biggest, I think, problem that most people mention when referring to the Mandalorian. It's not overly complicated. It's a bit like a cartoon in live action. I don't mind that. I don't think it needs to be overly complicated. I'm kind of bored, actually, with like overly convoluted plot lines with, you know, so many layers of intrigue, and you know, I think, you know, if you've got a solid story, you tell it well, it's written well, it's acted well, I don't have a problem with it being simple, because it's quite a refreshing change, and it's nice
sometimes
to have
simple works.
Yeah, I mean, look, Star Wars, the first Star Wars movie, I'm not going to call it A New Hope, Star Wars, get over it. For me, that's not a complicated story. It really isn't. And we have to remember that. And as children, you watch that and you got on board with the story because it was simple, because it was fun and exciting. And I think that that's fine. And I think there's a certain innocence to that. I don't mind that. I love that. I think it's kind of harkens back to that time. And that's why I feel at ease with it. It feels Star Warsy to me because it is that simple.
What I fear most is a timeless child-esque use of Ahsoka Tano. Like, for people who are here that are Doctor Who fans and aren't quite sure about why I am curious.
Analogy.
The analogy is that Ahsoka Tano to me is the timeless child. She is a character that actively defies canon. She is a pet character of Dave Filoni, and she has been involved in stuff like time travel now within the Star Wars Rebels TV series, and this is stuff that we've seen in the Clone Wars and the Rebels series that I know an awful lot of people say they don't watch cartoons, but these are going to have a very big ramification for these live action shows if Filoni is not kept very tightly on that leash. And I do fear, when I heard the casting announcement of this character coming along, it certainly sent shivers down my spine, because I know whilst an awful lot of people are happy with the character out there, and there are members of even the fandom that are actively championing Ahsoka Tano to me is the Order 66 to the fandom. The fandom will not understand the problem that this character creates until it's way too late. And you are the Jedi. You are going to be waiting for this character to turn on you and for you to see it for exactly what it is. And to me, it's a character that I think is going to usurp an awful lot of canon. And for me, I'm going to wait and see. I'm not going to cast any sort of opinion on what I think Favreau might do, but I certainly hope that they utilize it in a good way. I certainly hope that they end her story in this story. I do not want to see a spin-off show or any of that sort of stuff with her, even though they've talked about it. I don't want to see it. I think that is your gateway to the SJW wokeness, and I would rather not have it within this season or further on.
Yeah, so it is that rug that we are all so you know, it's so present in our mentality nowadays.
She's the rug.
She's the rug. So I think that's a very, very, very fair and very valid fear that is prominent amongst especially more hardcore Star Wars fans. I'm more sort of your relaxed sort of, I grew up with it. I had like 50% of the toys, I reckon, at some point in my life as a kid, and grew up with it from a young age. So I do have a love for it, and it is something that has been tainted for me and has been spoilt for me by, I mean, to be honest with you, since the prequels.
Well,
I wasn't the biggest fan.
Because Ninja Knight has to leave at 10. This episode is 50 minutes, so I think we should get cracking on with it.
Absolutely.
So we can keep Ninja Knight here.
Has everyone in the chat got a copy?
If you don't, it doesn't make a difference, because we're going to be talking through it anyway, and Ninja Knight will be able to pick up on stuff that's happening in the episode that I might necessarily pick up on, and he'll be able to tell why he doesn't think this works or why this works and stuff like that. So I'm getting it ready now.
Hold on a minute, I need to catch up.
Ninja Knight already,
I have it.
Right, Grant. Is everybody in the chat, do you have access to it? If not, as I said, it doesn't really make a difference. We will be talking and giving bullet points and stuff like that, as we always do. Anyway, but we're going to get started. So we're going to let Lee do the countdown, and whenever Lee is ready to do the countdown.
Yeah, just bear with me a little bit. I thought I had it on my hard drive, but I didn't. So I don't know how that happened. So I guess I watched it on my iPad last time. So now on my desktop, I'm gonna download it quickly.
Don't forget tomorrow, folks. Is tomorrow's Friday, isn't it? So the TARDIS Zone Talks returns tomorrow. So obviously we've had the latest Doctor Who news. So if you want to discuss that, or even discuss the Mandalorian, you can talk about anything tomorrow. As I said, it's not restricted. So if there's anything you need to get off your chest, basically, that this is the show for you, the TARDIS Zone Talks. So
yeah, whilst we're on that subject again, to reiterate what I said yesterday, I suggested that people write in to the BBC, to Tim Davie, the man himself, who I think is on our side. And I sort of appealed to people to send an email to him at his email address at the BBC, which is tim.davie@bbc.co.uk, to tell him your thoughts about how you feel about Doctor Who and where it's going, and especially with the new potential revelations that Noel's come up with, which are so crazy out there, but so crazy enough to be true.
Exactly.
Because it's Chibnall we're talking about here. Don't forget that.
By the way, his email address is in the link description of both videos. So I put up a text form of the information because people were saying to me, I'm not going to watch a 4-hour stream. So I did a text form, but it's in the stream, and it's also in that Tim Davie's email address is there. I was able to actually copy. I did something right for a change.
Yay!
I finally got it. So so that's there for you all. So please do, and remember, as we said, be polite. Give your bullet points. Tell them why you.
Look, Tim, I think Tim Davie's on our side. Give him a chance. Be polite. Just put your points across succinctly. Tell them what you feel. Tell them all the things that really upset you about the last two seasons. I've got stuck between the two of Doctor Who, and I mean, we can't sit here and say these new rumors are 100% true. We just don't know. This is what Noel's sources said. Who's been right about a number of things already so far that can be proven. So, with a pinch of salt, is this enough to tip your desire to do something about this now? Because now's the time. Because they haven't gone into production. Well, they might have started filming now, but this is the time now to say how you feel about this. And personally, I think Chibnall must go before this happens. So go in there, but just be honest about how you feel, but obviously keep it polite. Don't swear, don't call him names, don't call anyone names, but say that, if you want Chibnall to go, if you want Piers Wenger to go, more than anything, those are the two people that really, really need to go, in my opinion. Jodie Whittaker, you mentioned her if you want. I can't tell you what to do. That's entirely up to you. But I would seriously suggest doing that. Just email in. The more people who do it, the more it will be taken seriously. Let him know. Let him at least put it in his mind. This is the most important thing. He needs to look at this very carefully. He's made a big deal about people on Twitter virtue signaling and all the rest of it. But I mean, what's the biggest virtue signal at the BBC at the moment? It's Doctor Who, without a doubt. So
Chris has put the email address in the chat. So we're going to get Lee. Are you ready with that?
I am ready. Yep, I am ready now.
Right, whenever you're ready to do the countdown, and we press play at 1. Okay.
Yep. I'll make 1 very pronounced. So when I say 1, the minute I stop saying the word 1, press play.
So just to ask you real quick, is everybody in the chat that does have the episode that's going to do this with us? if you have it ready, let us know in the chat, and then we're gonna get Lee to do the countdown now.
Yeah.
So just let us know if the people are watching it with us.
Quick. Let's know.
Let's go, chat. Show us that this is the way.
Thumbs up,
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Press 1 for ready. Press 0 if not ready. Anytime now. One is like the first number on the keyboard. 0 is the last one on
R for ready, N for not.
No, 1 for yes, 0 for no. Okay, there's 3 people ready. Okay, that's good enough for me.
Right, we're getting a couple of readies there. Everybody, right. Well, we'll assume that everybody is ready. So, Lee, take it away, my friend, and let's get this show on the road, as they say.
In the galaxy.
Far
A long time ago, far away. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the way. Previously on The Mandalorian.
I like this recap.
Yeah, goes on for a few minutes, doesn't it? But it is a good recap.
I think it sets up the narrative, though.
Yeah.
I love that vaporizing gun. That's a callback to the old Boba Fett as well, too. We're in the animated series.
This is the way. Ew.
Interestingly, Werner Herzog told him to use the puppet, not CGI.
Yeah, good choice. Definitely the best.
Great choice. Nick Nolte's so good.
Oh. He was a great character.
It's so expressive. It's genius.
The child.
I'd love to see a series on Mandalore the Great now. I think that would be an interesting one. Ooh.
Yeah.
This is the way.
The dark saber. See, this was something as well. I was a bit like, oh no. Darth Maul wielded this in the Clone Wars. So,
Well, see.
this is more Filoni stuff. He then gave it to Sabine Wren, who was a female Mandalorian in the Rebels series. So again, it's mucking around a little bit in canon.
Dun, dun.
It does look cool, but that was to me a
Could
bit
there
of
be
like, oh no,
another
that's a
one?
Filoniism.
Could there be a second one that we don't know about?
At the moment, I don't think there's one present, but the Mandalore the Great allegedly used it. So I think that's.
This is.
But maybe we have to look at the sort of timeline in this. Is there a possibility that it could have been handed on somewhere along the line? Or maybe it will be addressed. I mean, it seems a bit silly to just put it in arbitrarily without some sort of explanation.
Yeah, exactly.
But then again, hey, we're so used to plot holes not having answers, so we'll have to see.
This is a nice little shot, isn't it?
Yeah, the graffiti thing throws me off a bit. I think, a bit weird for Star Wars for me.
The child is just so bloody cute. I'm sorry, but that's just
it is, isn't it? They did it really well. Stormtroopers' faces crossed out.
Yeah, seeing that, yeah. And again, if you haven't seen this show, we would highly recommend it on this channel. Give it a go yourselves. Listen, all I'll say is, you've seen a lot of YouTubers out there, and they are being, cautious, and some of them, they don't like Disney Star Wars. So, but what I would say is, you'll only know how good this is if you actually go and watch it yourself, and don't be necessarily listening to all of us. you have to check these things out for yourself, you know. I love this saying actually.
Yeah. They're
This
a bit
is
skinny for the guards, though, aren't they?
yeah, but this is an epic scene to start off this episode. Look at that child. I just love the child.
They're very lean for.
I think there was a couple of questions of whether these were female Gamorrean guards. Apparently something gets
That'd be
said.
interesting.
Yeah, something gets said, and I missed it, I think, the first time round. We'll see now.
Actually, yeah, that's a good idea. But does it make a difference?
Not really.
That's John Leguizamo. For anybody who doesn't remember, he was the Violator in Spawn.
Yeah.
He also played Benny Blanco in the Al Pacino movie. Finish.
Oh,
Sure, there you go. It's female.
I love this bit.
Yeah, that's what I said. It starts off brilliant.
It really does establish his skills very well in this. If you needed a reminder, this is a good way of doing it.
Ooh.
I love that. You know shit's going to go down.
Yeah, I love that line.
Yeah, I love that. I'm out of here.
Baby, See, even the music here is fantastic.
Yeah. The only thing is, I annoys me in most fights. It's not just this; it's a lot of things. Like he'll take on one, and the other person just stands around waiting. You know, it's just like that. So annoys me. That's a small little critique.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Very reminiscent of Iron Man as well, too. The way he'll take the punches and not really mind, and then turn around and sort it out.
Yeah. And this was a bit brutal by him, though, Mando, wasn't it? This part.
I love this. This is very Predator, kind of Batman-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit like Batman in space, isn't it, really?
Mm.
Tatooine again. That's cold.
I like this. I like the closing in of these eyes as well, too. Very Jim Henson-esque. Boom, boom.
I like that they've got it in chapters.
I just love this music, man.
Yeah, this is nice.
I thought that was a bit 80s, that music there, a bbit retro.
I love that. You know, that's my bag. You know, I think this is it's been criticised a lot for its music, but I think this seems good. I love this character as well. I think she's great. And I love these droids.
She's one of my favourite characters, along with the droids.
Yeah, she's really, really good. I'd like to see more of her. She's great.
And then they mess it up straight away.
Yeah, I mean, those were sort of like the fun characters from the prequel series I liked, you know.
She mentioned the Force there as well too. Thank the Force,
Yeah.
which is interesting. So there might be more to her than we know.
Yeah. I say so, man. I agree.
But we have heard sort of other characters use that as well who aren't Force sensitive.
It's so bad. It's hilarious, man. That's what I mean. There's a little bit of comedy in it as well.
Yeah, that's the joy of it. It's light, fluffy, good fun, really.
This is the same droid as well too that was in A New Hope.
Star Wars.
It was offered.
Yeah,
It was offered to Luke.
Yeah.
See, you can actually see the burn mark as well too on it because Luke complains about it busting up before he picks R2. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one that jumped backwards and forwards, didn't it? Because it was over by Luke at one point and then back near R2 and back near Luke again. Well, that's the original droid, is it?
Yeah,
that's good to know. It's nice stuff. It's nice little Easter eggs in there like that.
Yeah.
There's some great ones in this.
The hover bike we all wanted.
The music here is brilliant.
I love that. I love his little ears.
Yeah, the ears.
It's like a little puppy.
Yeah.
I think the communications between the Mando in season 1 and season 2 are going to definitely come to a head within this season. Now, I know an awful lot of people were very unhappy about the way the Tuscans are treated, but I think it's clever stuff for what I think Favreau has up his sleeve.
I love these. I want one.
I love this this kind of stranger into town. It's very reminiscent of when the horse comes into town with the Clint Eastwood character. Everyone's standing watching.
Yeah, it's got all the typical Western tropes, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But it's done brilliantly. I do like that. It's funny because I'm not a great fan of Westerns, to be honest. I mean, I like things like Deadwood and things like that, but
I love
this. There's certain like Clint Eastwood movies you can't help but watch, you know, like the original Westworld
and John Wayne.
It was never because my grandfather used to watch them all the time when I was a kid. It used to drive me mad. I got really bored because there wasn't any spaceships in it.
No way.
So, yeah, I didn't like old movies at the time. I mean, I do not all, but most of them I didn't like. But I do now more so. But like westerns, never really got into it. But like space westerns, different story. It's just the way I am. Sorry, that's the way it is. That's it. I don't know. I think I was so exposed to science fiction as a kid. I think it was just like, that's my bag.
I'd see John Wayne would have been a big part of my growing up as well. I loved him.
I mean, I had to sit through and watch them all. Just really wasn't my thing.
The Marshal.
I think it was just too adult for me at the time. Skinny Fant.
Well, this is one of the leaks that were released early in the year that Timothy Oliphant was going around wearing the Boba Fett armor.
Yeah, he just looks so skinny. Look at that waist. I used to have a waist like that. I mean, it looks like, if you sneeze, you'd fall over and break in half. But he's a great actor. He's good in this.
Yeah, and how he picks up the Mandalorian armor quite quickly as well is interesting. I like the scene that there's a lot of tension in it. The first time I watched that, I was like, they're not going to get rid of Timothy Oliphant so quickly, are they?
Yeah, that was funny. But I mean, it's the kind of distraction to pull him out of that was a bit on the nose. But that's fluffy entertainment for you.
His hair looks great.
Yeah, he's quite a dishy dude. He's got the silver fox thing going on there. Every time. Every damn time, that bloody Yoda. I'm the lore. Not messing. Ooh, shit. Here we go, the twitchy finger moment. And this is why the Western style of thing works so well in space, because it is the wild way. It is the wild frontier, isn't it?
It's wild now, particularly with the Empire having been vacated.
Yeah, so you've got that power vacuum, and I just think that in itself is the perfect situation for, because there is a direct analogy, in American history.
Yeah.
God, I've forgotten how to roll a cigarette.
The Banta is like a water buffalo here, the way it is.
Yeah, right.
Taken out.
Like the cattle. I like the way they set up this sort of.
Yeah.
What the fuck,
Well, I like the way it gives them both the common enemy, really, within the story.
Yeah. They call it a dragon, sand dragon?
Yeah, the crate dragon, yeah.
Crate dragon, that's it. But there were some complaints about it, wasn't it? Because it's supposed to have legs and stuff, and
yeah, but I don't think you really see it emerge too much. Apparently, the CGI budget was kind of slashed on this, so when you see that, that's probably why we didn't see a full reveal of it.
This bit is just like, oh.
Yeah, there's been complaints about the dam and the Tuscans as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, to the complaint about the Tuscans, though, I mean, in my opinion, races evolve, and sometimes, for their survival, they might actually dance with the enemy because
Yeah.
survival means more to them. That you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
again, though, we have to wait and see how obviously the next couple of episodes go and how it develops. But that does seem to be one complaint with some Star Wars fans about the Tuscans. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it's approached. I don't know what you personally think yourself, but yeah, it's
This is basically the plot of Blazing Saddles, and pretty much every Western that's ever been going, isn't it? We got the stranger wanders into town, meets up with the local law, got a problem with some bandits, go to the bandits' lair, pick out the bandits, get the town to work together with the other outlaws, and that kind of story. I mean, it's just done in a science fiction way. I do appreciate things like that. I like that kind of setting.
What's interesting here, this is Anakin's pod racer piece.
Yeah.
What looks to be Anakin's pod racer piece that he's using as the speeder, which is a lovely callback.
It
goes to show how resourceful they are as well.
I'm so embarrassed.
I've got my season 1 review uploaded, so I'm just waiting for it to pass its usual thing, which will probably take 15 days, folks. So, because with YouTube, they're just, I don't know, mate. They're just, they make it very hard for you on this platform. But, we've made, as I said yesterday, we've made some great friends on this, and we'll keep going. We'll keep going. We'll keep doing what we're doing. And,
shout out to Randall Wilson there. He likes the word mate, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, as well, I want to do, because I'm a fan of it. Don't know about any views. I'll probably be criticised for this, but I'm actually a fan of the new Lost in Space. Is there any Lost in Space fans in the house?
I think it was better in the second season than the first. I mean, it's still laden with so many woke tropes in there. But at least it tells a good story. It's got some compelling characters in there. I mean, it does suffer from the Mary Sue syndrome though, somewhat. But I mean, it's still got some great bits in there. And the second season's got a lot of stuff going on. Like every episode is like big events happening constantly. I mean, it almost feels a bit too staged, but it's more entertaining than the first season. The first season was so slow. Lost in Space, but
this is a lovely callback as well too to Iron Man, where he's in the desert. Yeah. And it's interesting to know as well too that Timothy Olyphant was the second choice to Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of Iron Man, which I like. And also, he was the sheriff as well too in Deadwood, so I think that is another beautiful callback.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this is the amount of things that they offer him, and he says no, and he recognizes the armor and says that. It's interesting to know the heroism of this character, which I really like. It's not something we've seen in recent years either.
Yeah, that's very true. What, a male hero?
A white male hero at that as well.
Not allowed. That would never happen in real life.
He's like, I'll take that and I'll go back.
Yeah.
I want an action figure of this guy now.
Thing is, it doesn't look very threatening in it. It just looks like a bit of a string bean. Look, he's got no shoulders, bless him.
But I think that's more believable though for the speed with which he draws on these characters as well too. Where if he was big and hulking, I'm not sure if you'd believe it too much.
Yeah, he's very svelte. Nothing wrong with that.
I like that. I like when they shot and
Yeah.
just bounced out the armor. He's like, it's very Iron Man-esque. You can tell Favreau's been involved.
He's doing his sort of John Wayne walk out of the saloon bar.
Well, again, don't forget as well too, with Iron Man as well too, he fought a tank, remember, in the first one, and he shot the missile down the barrel as well too. So to me, it's reminiscent of it. What I find very interesting though is how Cobb Vanth really got quite used to that Mandalorian armor very easily.
Yeah, that's a great little scene. This is like, yeah, casually just see how that'll do it.
Don't forget, folks, the weekend we have Friday tomorrow, the Tarzan Talks. On Saturday, we have Classic Who Watchalong coming back, and New Who on Sunday. So we got plenty going on, and the lads on their channels, Ninja Knight, don't forget to subscribe. Problem Beans channel, don't forget to also subscribe to their channels. And if you haven't and you're new in the chat and you haven't subscribed to my channel, I do really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button or that like button, dislike button, whatever you want to do. It's up to yourself.
I like this scene. I like this bit.
Yeah. And if you haven't checked out my Doctor Who news, please do.
Yeah, that video's doing really well.
It is
Extremely
on 1017 now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna blow.
Have you been sharing that like crazy? Yeah, share that like crazy on Twitter, people, and Facebook and wherever else you're on social media.
The funny thing was that
love
when we did
this.
the stream yesterday, I'll explain after the scene because you're right. This is a good scene coming up.
I was going to say man's best friend, but
right. So this is the scene that everybody has a problem with because apparently these are savages and they take no hostages and all of this. But as I would say, as I said earlier, these people would evolve, and especially if they're under threat.
Well, I think it's more interesting to give them a bit more depth rather than just being a very sort of two-dimensional caricature. I think it gives them more of a cultural background, gives them something to, there might be hardcore, but at the same time, it's good to sort of get a glimpse into and like most cultures, you're told, oh, this culture, they're like this and they're like that, but you actually investigate them and there's a lot more to them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. It makes them, dare I use the word noble? I mean, I don't want to get into trouble. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you, Ninja Knight, how you feel about the Tuskens and
what I love it. I think that this idea of them using kind of a sign and the man unknown is incredibly interesting for what's going to happen later. I think, like you said, I think Tuskens do have to find a way to survive. And I mean, these people seem to forget as well that a Tusken Jedi did exist in the EU. So there has been versions of them before that have interacted with people.
Question, would you drink that?
No, would be the answer. But see, the Mandalorian knows an awful lot about the Tusken culture, which is highly interesting. So I'd be very much so intrigued to see what they do with this.
Will they explore that, do you think?
If Pedro Pascal has now left, I think there's another character that appears in this episode that I think they will explore it with. Yes.
He's being culturally insensitive. I'm an American.
He's
doesn't flinch once. Yes, he's Hitman.
And he's brilliant in Die Hard 4. I love this actor. So if
he's Agent 47 in Hitman too.
Into this a lot more, I have no problem with him coming into this show. I think he's a terrific actor.
No, he's a great addition to the cast, and it'll be interesting to see if he, like the Mandalorian, forms a little team, with him, Cara Dune, and.
Well, if he took over as the Mandalorian, I'd have no objection to it. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think that this was John Favreau's way of saying, "Hey, I didn't cast you in Iron Man, and we are going to use you here as a very principal character." And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this character going
Mate,
forward. This is a
I think
character
he's
that has
a
been
bit
big in
too
the EU too.
skinny to be the Mandalorian, personally.
Once you put the armor on him, he's fine. Especially the
Yeah,
Mando's. Like the Mando's armor is more bulked as well from underneath the stuff that he's wearing.
yeah,
I mean, when
potentially.
you look at Timothy Oliphant's costume there, it's kind of really just a long sleeved t-shirt essentially with a bit
Yeah.
of a scarf.
Chris
There's plenty of
Perzer
padding.
says, "We no problem being would drink it because he fears nothing." No, I fear that drink, quite honestly. Anything that rises with black smoke out of it, I'm probably more predisposed to not. Listen, I've done some crazy shit in my time, but that drink, I think, draws the line.
Important point there now as well too. The Krayt Dragon has eaten the Sarlacc. That's why the pit is empty. So that we might feature that in the Boba Fett story that might go forward, possibly.
This is quite funny in the wrong kind of way.
The child loves a bit of death.
Yeah, it's good training.
What it goes to show as well too how idiotic some of the Tuscans are. Instead of running
Yeah.
behind the Bantha, it runs on its own.
It's just like
The child. The rest of them are like, oh no.
Someone Lord Thotha says in the chat, that's not how I envisioned a Krayt Dragon. Do you want to address that, Ninja Knight?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, like I've said earlier on, there is an EU version of them where they have legs, but I think the budgetary constraints on this episode, particularly when you do realize that, I think in the fourth season they were 15 million an episode, as a total of 120 million. In this season, they've only been given 100 million, as far as I know. So they are budgetary constraints, and I think that the
I don't
legs
have a
are
problem with
supposed
that.
to be underneath the ground.
It looks snaky to me. I mean,
It
everyone's got
does.
their sort of imagination on things we haven't really seen on screen. So when we see it on screen for the first time, and it's not how we imagine, it's like when you read a book and then it's turned into a series or a film, and you're like, nah, that's not how I saw it.
True, but I think there is a bit of an artistic license here that there might be different types of Krayt Dragons. That could be a possibility.
I mean, I still think it's a fierce looking thing. I wouldn't want to bump into it in a dark alleyway, would you?
Yeah, I think it's quite reminiscent as well too, a bit of the basilisk from the Harry Potter series in a way, the way it moves and the way it just snaps out. I think that might have been what they've been going for a little bit, but I think I think the Krayt Dragon I think is probably the least of people's problems. The Ahsoka Tano is a far bigger problem. Believe you me.
Mm.
I really like how tough this character is. This Cobb Vanth, I really do.
This here is a Mandalorian. I love that kind of this here. The typical extras. Okay, react like this. Okay, react like that. Okay.
I like the honor system that's in this. You know, there's a wager in it. It's something for you, something for me.
Yeah, that's a kind of realistic scenario. And it follows the standards Western storytelling, you know.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, ultimately, that's the deal. You know, there's a possibility that a rogue Tusken Rider could do something, and
Yeah,
someone could
or
shoot
one
it.
of the
And
villagers could do something,
exactly,
you know. So there is that trade-off. Even though it's going to be an unsteady, unstable alliance, you know, like in real life.
mm-hmm.
I
I
like
like
the
this as
music
well
here.
too. This is very reminiscent, kind of like of Lawrence of Arabia type
Yeah, I'm
of
thinking that very
stuff.
much.
It's
I
a
love
bit of a
that.
shift, you know.
Yeah. Quite a sight, really.
But this is the enemy coming to your hometown.
Yeah.
It's unusual.
Still wonder what they look like underneath their wrappings.
In the EU, they have a very human appearance. Funnily enough.
Yeah. Great shots. I love the technology they use for a lot of their CGI, which is actually in camera because they have these built sort of 360-degree
Yeah.
screen, is it OLED, I guess, screens that go around that are like real high definition, super high definition, and they do all the coloring and add in the CGI in real time.
Yeah, I think it's really clever.
That's so
Very
good,
clever.
and because you get all the reflections on the armor in real space, and I think that's
Well,
fascinating.
it's groundbreaking stuff. Like, I mean, it's going to be, I think, the future for a lot of these companies, because with the restrictions that are out, and
Yeah,
particularly with these companies going to go towards streaming services now, I
and it
think
speeds
that
up the
is
process as well of production
exactly.
because you know if in pre-production you can already have the CGI ready in there, you know,
Yeah.
and then you just plump it down on the location and you're ready to go, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does have that sort of more believable real life element to it. You know, you can do so much great stuff and scenery in the background that doesn't look quite so fake as if it was painted on, you know, with digitally in a CGI way. But if it's there projected in a real space, well, not projected, but you know, on a
Yeah.
super high definition screen that envelops the actors.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Impressive.
really like the scene as well too, particularly with him putting his hand to the ground, shows the tracker kind
Yeah,
of version of these characters, which I really like.
yeah, that's that kind of world building you want. You know, that kind of you
But
know
it further
believable culture.
characterizes them, yeah.
Yeah, it gives them some depth. I think this whole scene is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the cooperation and everything.
It's kind of like the Battle of the OK Corral, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
You know, nearly like
exactly.
a
You know,
last stand.
it's got all those familiar tropes, and not all tropes are bad. You know,
Yeah.
familiarity, and it's like the idea of kitsch. You know, where the Russians use kitsch to use as
Yeah.
propaganda to make people feel comfortable because it was familiar. It was old, but it was familiar, and it's parental almost. So I mean, it's this kind of stuff is harkening people back to a time that people remember, and not, you know, in terms of history, obviously, but in terms of familiarity, that we were raised with westerns and these
Yeah.
kind of storytelling scenarios. A great location. I mean,
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. Like I really like the CGI in this episode, and I think again, this episode for me is tops.
Yeah, I love the coloring of it, the lighting of it,
But there's even this sense of like this could go wrong as well too, and everyone's on tender hooks as well too.
and you
I think
feel
this has
you're on
been a really good
Tatooine again
episode
as
for
well.
tension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, considering in the
The only
OT,
problem,
like in the old trilogy, we don't spend too much time on Tatooine either, and it's quite mystical when we do see it at first.
the only problem I have is the physics of this, because you've got two suns, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you've only got one shadow.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just saying.
Oh yeah, I see people where this is the part that people are moaning about because this thing is supposed to have legs or something.
It's like Jaws, isn't it? Or
Yes, it's very like Jaws.
Or the Meg. It even looks like a shark, doesn't it?
CGI was poor here. I don't see that now. I'm sorry. I think there's a bit of nitpicking going on. And again, Ninja Knight is right. You don't see the whole creature here. So
I mean,
it does get up onto rocks as well too.
I love this. I thought this was spectacular, man, to be quite honest with you.
I love the strength of it, just
yeah,
not bothered.
I like the way they're launching and shooting these. It's very like clay pigeons kind of. It's very like Captain Ahab as well too when you think of it as well. The way they're trying to draw this thing out and harpoon it, and then it's like Moby Dick.
Again, it's like Moby Dick is another analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're pulling very hard on that at all. I don't think it makes a difference.
I love this bit there. It just starts spitting. I love that. It just vaporizes people instantly.
Oh. We knew it wasn't. We just.
I think that's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah. It's grim, isn't it?
I like that Cobb Vanth as well too. Takes the initiative. He's like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
Genuine question to ask you about, lads. With the total disaster that the movies have been, the sequel trilogy, do you think this is the future of Star Wars, little shows like The Mandalorian? Do you think that's the way they'll go? Or do you think they will finally, they might continue trying to do a movie? I've even heard rumors, now this was last year, that they're even considering to redo or to reboot the original trilogy. Where do you stand on that? And also, the question that I asked you first, do you think this is the future of Star Wars, these little shows?
Yeah, I think personally, I'm going to be greedy and say I would much rather have 8 hours of these characters rather than 1.5 or 2. I also think as well that it's going to be a longevity run in that they need shows to keep people interested. And I think you can work that out very well. I know that they're doing it with the MCU now. I think that the future of that is probably going to be shows. And certainly actors are committing themselves to shows now because it's going to be guaranteed work. Whereas with the movies, I don't know. So I think it is the way forward for this. I think it's a good idea.
I agree. I think it's quite clear that they don't understand Star Wars as a film franchise, but I think they understand it in terms of TV. I think it works better in the TV format now because I don't think you can get the charm cinematically anymore. I think because they're charmless. Whereas TV series, you've got more time for characters to develop and you can.
He hits him in
really
just to cut across it. He hits him in the same area of the backpack that Han hits Boba Fett in the Return of the Jedi. If you noticed that. Sorry, Lee. Go ahead.
No. I didn't say anything.
That was the little callback to some little Easter eggs in this that are absolutely epic, and they're not done cheaply either.
No.
Poor thing. Oh.
Yeah. I was gonna say though, it has a face like Chewie, a mouth like Chewie.
Yeah.
You see, like I said, the Cobb Vanth picks up using that armor really easily.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like that.
Yeah, I mean that could work. If he does take over as Mandalorian eventually, then he's not going to be necessarily part of the religion, or he might be, but he'd be like, I ain't keeping the helmet on, sorry.
He could certainly take the armor and be trained up by somebody else.
Yeah.
That'd be the way I think I might go.
Okay.
Maybe the reason why we're seeing his face now is because then later on,
so you get used to it.
Mandalorian, then he doesn't have to show his face because we already know who he is.
Yeah.
Boom.
See, again, for people that are questioning the look of, I love this shot as well too. It's just a heroic one and the music.
I kind of feel sorry for the crate dragon. So he was only hungry.
I think what's interesting for people that don't like the design either, we've never actually seen the full version of it come out of the sand, and any version of it that we've seen there has been obstructed, and when it was on the rock face, we didn't see behind it, we just seen the head. So
a really long neck.
Yes. Given the giganticism of it, I think it's possible it has legs, and again, budgetary constraints could be a problem.
I think it looks great. I mean, look, even there, you're just seeing its top part of its ribs. I mean,
yes.
So if there's ribs like that and a long neck like that, it doesn't imply a snake-like thing to me. If you've got ribs and then a long neck, to me, that
because you can see some of it still buried underneath the ground there, as you can see, So there is a possibility. Like there, I mean, half of it there now is built under the ground.
I don't personally have a problem.
No,
I think to move through sand like that at that speed, I think it's more. It makes more sense for me that it's more snake-like than lizard-like. I think limbs would slow it down probably more than a snake-like design. That's just me.
Very interesting there. Cobb as well too says that I hope their paths cross again. So
yeah, well, I should have came do you know what though? I was thinking after I seen this scene, and
is that like a pearl? Is it?
Yeah. Armor, but I can understand why you had to take it. I do. I love him as an actor. If he is going to be in this more, I can't wait to see what they do.
Riding off into the sunset.
Yeah, the twin suns. Yeah. This shot though,
or sunset or sunsets. I don't know. Yeah. But again, one shadow.
Oh, look at him.
Yeah.
The weaponry on his back as well too. It looks like Tusken Raider weaponry, by the way. And that is Boba Fett. That is the great Tamara Morrison.
Oh, hey. Right. So that's really good. A good sign for things to come.
listen.
So he definitely looks like after Return of the Jedi, he survived and hung out with our favorite sand people.
It does seem that way with the way he's dressed, and particularly with those weapons.
Maybe
as
they
well,
rescued
too, that are on
him.
back.
I mean, that would be interesting.
Well, it plays into this culture idea now as well too with the Tuscans, why they're building them up so much between the fourth season and this season. They could be building them up that Boba had something to do with them, and that's why they have great respect between each other. I'm highly interested to see what they do with it.
Do you see this playing out as like an analogy with like the Wild West and the the Indian tribes?
Yeah, I think it could go kind of little bit like Dances with Wolves. I think there is a possibility it could do that. Yeah, I think that there is a possibility they could do that, but there's also a possibility that they could see that maybe with Boba Fett joining the Tuscans, that there is a very similar cultural similarity between them and the Mandalorians, because it certainly shapes up that way. It looks like that they both have their very astute cultures, and the Mandalorian knows an awful lot about the Tuscan culture, which is curious, because even Luke, when he's on Tatooine, doesn't seem to think much of them. Again, Obi-Wan Kenobi seems to have ideas of what they're about, but nobody knows as much. I mean, look, Kenobi had to scare them away with a crate dragon roar, whereas Mando just goes and talks to them and is able to do the sign. That to me is very important, and it's a detail that's
I like this
overlooked.
scene. I don't know why they hit so hard on it. I think it's got some nice motifs in there, actually.
Boba Fett, I hope not. I hope he is a clone from the Clone Wars, says Lord Thought.
No, it's Boba, 100%. I think it's clear to see from the scarring on his face as well too, with the fact that it looks like his eyebrows have been burned off. There is very highly a possibility that Tamara Morrison's going to play multiple characters in this season. We have heard that Captain Rex, who was a clone trooper, is going to appear in this. I think that is fascinating, because Boba Fett coming face to face with another clone would be very much so interesting, and a very interesting dynamic. I don't think if we get Boba Fett and Captain Rex that both of them make it out of this season, so do prepare yourself for that. I would say.
Yeah.
Well, that's good closure, though, isn't it? Like a proper end to an arc. It's good to see a classic villain come back and see what happens.
I think if they were wise, they would base the show either off him. Focus on Tamara Morrison. He's a great actor. I think if you focus the show on him, if Pedro Pascal has left, it's a good idea. I also think he could play a nice mentor role to Cobb Vanth, because he clearly knows that Cobb Vanth has been wearing the Mandalorian outfit that he has. So why hasn't he gone and taken it by now? That's an interesting thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the next interactions are and how Boba Fett turns up. And remember, when we were on Tatooine before, we had a lone gunslinger with the sound of the spores that Boba Fett makes in the original trilogy walk up and take the tracking beacon. So what's
spurs?
Exactly, yeah. But what's his motives? That's what I think. So
about Pascal. Why is there rumors that he's leaving? You don't mind me asking. That's one thing that I'm puzzled about. Why is there talk of him leaving?
I think it is to do with the helmet situation. I also think there might be I think the situation might be that everything that came along with the Gina Carano thing, I know that has been a while in the brew. I think clearly the way things have run, they've sided with her. Maybe that was a sticking point for him, and they said, well, look, you can go. And I think they're confident enough that it doesn't matter who's going to be in the armor. I mean, you put that armor on Cobb Vanth, no one cares that Pedro Pascal is not in it. I don't think anybody cares. If anybody in the chat disagrees,
I think that's what's good about this show, because it's like they've set it up that anybody can be a Mandalorian to a certain extent. So I'd agree with you. And listen,
I like his voice, though.
I'd be happy with that, because as I said, I love him as an actor, and he's pretty good. And I think to be honest, he sounds more and feels more like a Mandalorian.
Maybe he feels threatened by Oliphant. Like, hello, what's going on here? I'm the main guy. Who's this other guy? It could be a conflict there. Might be a creative difference. Might be just ego.
Let's not forget we've had these issues before, because remember Terrence Howard and Robert Downey Jr. on Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
And then Iron Man 2 happens. Terrence Howard says, I want more money. They said, no, we're giving it to RDJ. And we then get Don Cheadle. Who's War Machine. So there is a possibility that could be the setup. I don't know if anybody would care in the chat, or even you guys. Would you care if Pedro Pascal was gone? I personally wouldn't. If someone else
I
put on the
agree with
same
Lord
armor,
Thorpe.
I wouldn't care.
I agree with Lord Thorpe there. I like
Mm,
Pascal's
okay.
voice. It is pretty distinct. It does seem to fit the character very nicely. It would be a shame if he has gone. I know that,
But if he's gone because of they sided with Gina Carano.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I think that would
I'm
be.
not saying they
sad
have.
thing.
I'm just saying
Yeah, I mean,
it's a
we can
possible.
speculate. We can speculate, but I think it would be a shame. I like his nuance. He
But
does
listen, mate, you're getting paid. You signed the fucking contract. Like, get over yourself. The way you know me, I'm like that with Doctor Who as well. I'm going to be out straight about it. If that is his genuine, legitimate reason, and we don't know, we're just speculating here. These are the rumors that are flying about. But if it is about the mask or the helmet, or it is because they decide to side with Gina, well, then he can go, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I mean, if it's the former rather than the latter, I can understand that. If you're a leading man in your own show and you're being eclipsed by someone who doesn't have to wear the mask, the helmet the whole time, I think there is an element that I can understand. Listen, I do understand that. And yeah, I guess there is an element of ego that might be involved there. But listen, I can understand it in the terms of he's the leading man and he's kind of, he's upstaged somewhat by other characters. And that must do your head in, I think, especially after...
It's a lack of foresight, though, from him. I mean, surely he was interviewed and told, look, there's a possibility that we are not going to show your face much, and he signed on the dotted line knowing this. Like I said before, I think that they would have been far more clever if they didn't want them to remove the helmet, to just have a voice actor do the job, because they are far more affable, and they have mostly a stunt actor playing the Mandalorian in most of the episodes in season 1. I don't know about season 2 yet, if they have done the same thing. There has been on set.
Well, I guess he'll be doing all the action shots. So I guess it's his main shtick, isn't it? That's what his talent lies in. We saw that in Game of Thrones with his sort of martial arts ability. So I guess, yeah, I mean, I think as a sort of launching pad, he was kind of shortchanged in Game of Thrones, like a lot of characters were, I think. But he was a standout part in that, and I think that obviously springboarded him to this. But I feel that he thinks this is not going to help him sort of progress his career, because he is so hidden away, and there's not much to go. We can see his ability as a martial artist, as a great sort of balletic mover, and a great voice, and I think I can understand it. I'm not going to be too harsh on him for that. I don't think it's a man baby kind of thing that he's doing by saying this. And I think it's a little bit unfair that people have sort of leapt on that. Quite honestly, from my take on this, and someone I can understand. And look, having been an extra on movies and wearing incredibly uncomfortable gear for a long period of time as well, that can take a toll. And it's totally understandable, believe me, especially if you're under a hot sun and you're wearing that. It's not great. So there are elements that can affect you. But they can affect you mentally. Really, it's a psychological thing that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And bearing in mind, he probably spends a lot of time in the trailer, but when you're on set, and that's like many hours a day, with very little sleep as well. Please bear that in mind. Give him a little bit of kudos on that.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at Tom Cruise. I mean, Tom Cruise has gone through the ringer for what he's been doing, and I think, this guy complaining about being under the helmet, I think is ridiculous.
But people aren't the same. People are different, and you have to bear in mind that not everyone can be up to Tom Cruise's fortitude. I mean, bearing in mind as well that guy's been around the block for a lot of years, and is a very he's a veteran of the movie industry, and he's always been that way, always thrown himself in.
He is, but I find what was interesting about
doesn't have to wear a shitload of armor.
In season one, Pedro Pascal made a comment himself that he said, I had to watch the actor in the suit, and I had to tailor my performance around that. So that to me says to me, well, the actor has done most of the job there, really, that's in the suit, and you've tailored your performance to him. So why not just give that job to the individual that's in the suit?
He might not. The individual in the suit might not be a martial artist in that sense. He might not be that trained to move in the
But
combat
allegedly, he
scenes.
didn't film an awful lot in the suit in season 1. It was mostly a voice actor role, which I think is strange because, like I said, if you wanted to get a voice actor and get a good one, there's many of them out there. Look at Troy Baker. Look at the likes of
Yeah, but
Nolan North,
they hired
Roger
him for
Craig
his
Smith.
voice. They hired him for his voice, but also the way he moves during the action scenes. I mean, that is a particular. I mean, we saw him in Game of Thrones during the battle with the Mountain, and
As far as I know, Pascal doesn't do those scenes. That's someone else. I think it's a guy called Lateef Crowder.
If that's true,
Yeah.
That's insane. To me, that's the whole point, surely, of having him there.
Mhm.
Other than being
like
a
I said,
main role, you know.
Like I said, I can't really understand why they did hire him, because like I'm saying, if they had wanted just a voice actor, they could have gotten many others. I don't get why Hollywood won't use prominent voice actors to do these roles. There's many of them out there.
Charlotte's leaving in the stream. Night, Charlotte. Yeah, sorry, carry on. I just had to.
Good night, Charlotte.
Carry on.
Yeah, I think it's a highly interesting way, if these rumors are true, of course. But I mean, apparently this mid-season it takes a very sharp veer off into a different direction, and I think that's something that's quite concerning. When you look at some of the casting decisions as well for this season, it's quite unusual. I mean, they have Sasha Banks appearing in this, who I'd be very skeptical about her ability to act. I'd also be very skeptical about Rosario Dawson being involved in this, because I thought she was one of the weaker characters within the Defenders, particularly within Luke Cage. So I'm a little bit baffled as to why they've hired those two individuals that I think are quite limited.
You
know?
No, I can understand that. Yeah, I just assumed that he was, doing the fluid kind of action-y thing. That's insane.
No.
Blows my mind.
There's essentially 3 people that play the Mandalorian, and there's 2 prominent guys. I think in the Prisoner episode, I think it's a guy called Lateef Crowder, who is a martial artist. He's actually a black man, funnily enough. And they had him play essentially the martial art role that was in that. Then they have another kind of guy walking around. He's a white gentleman. And then they had Pedro Pascal be the unmasked version of the Mandalorian, which, like I said, I think it's quite a strange idea.
That is weird. That is weird.
I mean, if you wanted someone that has a fantastic voice and actually looks good, Troy Baker is your man. You could have used him. You've got Nolan North that's there as well too, who's a fantastic voice actor, and I think would have been more than happy to do the gig. And if it's only limited screen time with the helmet off, I think they'd pull it off. I think it's, to me, a very strange move. But
that blows my mind. I just assumed that if, like, you've got basically an overpaid body double extra to walk around and do the walkie-bounty, noddy-heady kind of stuff, that's one thing. But, and to do the sort of the meal work, the kind of boring standing about stuff, I can understand that. But, I mean, the guy, we've seen what he can do in Game of Thrones. Why is he not doing that in this? I don't understand why you hire some. I mean, gee, that's crazy to me.
He was also in Narcos, and he was also in that, and I thought he actually was quite. He wasn't as good as what's the other name? The name of the other guy that's in that. So the other guy that's in it, that's also Boyd Holbrook. He was also in the Logan movie, and he was real southern and stuff like that. To me, he would have been probably a better choice as the Mandalorian if you wanted that western look.
But this was meant to be like a vehicle for him, wasn't it? But it doesn't seem to be working out in his favor because, again, we don't see him like his face and stuff. But I mean. So basically, like I said, voice actor. That's really odd.
So that's why I'm saying it's quite odd. Like, now maybe his duties shifted in season 2 with everything that happened, and they said, right, you're going to have to get into the suit now, and you have to stay in it. I don't know what way things worked, but maybe that was a problem, and then he realized then, well, actually, I have to wear this suit most of the days, or I have to wear it most of the time, and I'm actually going to be a bit of a prima donna now. I like I said, all of these things when you're going in and signing on the dotted line and having these meetings.
That's strange.
Say it again.
Ted's looking for food. I said, I've no food. I just had me dinner there while we were watching. That's why I had the sound off, so I didn't want you to hear me eating. The little shit still thinks I have food, and he's over here looking like
begging at you with those eyes, those chocolate button eyes.
Yeah. exactly what he's doing.
Doing Baby Yoda looks at you.
Yeah, he is. That's what we do call him, Ted, Baby Yoda. We call Ted Baby Yoda because he's a big baby. Isn't that right, Baby Yoda? Yeah.
Lord Thought is saying something interesting in the chat there. He says Pedro Pascal was selected for one reason: name recognition and show recognition for the normies. Oh, the Game of Thrones guy, cool. I don't think if you talk to most people that they would actually recognise who he is.
Yeah, I think that's
Prince Oberyn.
That's a bit of a derail, isn't it? I mean, it's like I think that too. I think he's not really there yet. I think this was meant to make him a name draw. That this was a vehicle for him. Obviously, he impressed the casting director for this show. It just seems to me that one of the reasons he was successful in Game of Thrones was because his standout moves. You know, he was a svelte guy who had a bit of a draw, a bit of a sort of exotic Latino look to him, and he can move like a snake. You know, and all that flashy stuff, and here we are finding out now. For me, that that's not him doing it. It's just why waste that? I mean, he's a great mover. I mean, maybe he's not so great in the costume. Maybe they found that out after they cast him. That once he's got that costume on, he's not very good at moving.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they've looked at it and said, "Oh, he's not moving that great in the costume. Right, we need someone better."
Yeah, it could be a scheduling conflict as well, because he is in the Wonder Woman 1984 as Maxwell Lord as well too. Basically a parody of the Orange Man, which is very funny in itself.
Well, it's going to be very dated now if things are going the way it looks like it's going.
Extremely so. But I think again, like I said, it's a very strange choice to sign your name on the dotted line, and then I mean, like, this whole idea of him bringing star power, I don't quite buy it. I don't think most people, if you told them his name, would actually know who he is. I think if you said like the guy who played it, but not even that. I mean, you'd have to get very specific. If you said Prince Oberyn, I think most people would look at you now and go, "Who?" They remember what Nikolai Coster-Waldau. Exactly. They would remember if it was Nikolai Coster-Waldau. That's a far more recognizable individual. I think.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to see how this will play out towards the end of this season, and obviously into season 3, where we'll know for sure what's been going on. Well, to the best of our knowledge, at least. But I mean, if we look through this season as it comes up, start pinpointing where these rumors might be coming from. I mean, it might show through. We might get a glimpse into the possibilities of why things have transpired the way they have. Obviously, we'll get answers from leading up to season 3, what's going on with the filming and that. So let's see.
I've seen a lot of people question, saying, "Oh, well, of course he's still there. He's promoting the show." Well, if people are buying subscriptions, he's going to get some sort of money out of that. Maybe there's a deal there. If he's promoting it, maybe he's
stupid excuse, man. Right? Because it's
obligated, maybe.
Well, right. Christopher Eccleston was still promoting the show, and he was fired. All right,
right.
It makes no difference whatsoever. They're paid, right? They're given a contract, and part of the contract is they have to promote it. Now, even if they do leave the show, they still have to promote the fucking thing because it's part of their contract. They're being paid. So I don't buy any of that bull, because it's actually happened 3 times in the Doctor Who bloody fandom, with Christopher Eccleston, with David Tennant, and with Peter Capaldi.
Maybe it's happening now with Jodie too.
Yeah.
Fingers bloody crossed.
But you know what I mean? That excuse, but he's still promoting, so he's not got means absolutely nothing, because we Doctor Who fans know it means absolutely nothing, because we've seen it play out firsthand. So that means nothing. Listen, whether he stays or goes for me, I would like him to stay on, to be quite honest with you. I do agree with a couple of things. He does have that distinct voice, but I do like your other man as well. And if Pascal has a problem because he thinks he's going to be overshadowed by this fella, well, then I think they should cut their losses, to be honest.
But however, I mean, if the other guy, if Oliphant becomes the Mandalorian, I mean, I think if they're not careful, and they again do the same thing with Pascal and put the helmet on and you never see him, I think you're losing the great thing about his character, you know, is the way he expresses himself facially and all the rest of it. I think it would be a shame. I mean, he's a good-looking guy as well. You know, I think if you hide his face under a helmet a lot, if he does take over the mantle, that you run the risk of turning away some of his fans or whatever who want to see him or enjoy his character as he is now. You know what I mean? So you've got a fine line to tread there, and you know, depending on what the actual situation is and if he's staying or going, really, it's kind of, do you sacrifice the supporting actor who's really, really good and has good facial recognition and then cover him up and then run the risk of going through the same problem again? I think this is a problem that can never go away because the character itself is created that way. So I think whoever takes on that role, if they do swap him out, you're going to be faced with a similar problem.
Yeah, I do agree, and I mean, like, you can even see it with the Cobb Vanth character there. That, like, I mean, he's wearing the most, arguably second to Darth Vader, the most iconic helmet in Star Wars history, and he regularly removes it. He doesn't have it for most of the episode, and then towards the end, to basically suit up, puts it on. I think moving forward, obviously, it'd probably be a slap in the face to Pedro Pascal if you did switch him out with someone that was doing that on the regular. But maybe the production. But listen, we've heard recently that Disney have sent a mandate down that anybody that's engaging in wokeness and any of this SJW nonsense, to be rid of them. I mean, we're hearing word of Brie Larson not being safe. Pascal is on that train as well too, of being woke in SJW. So maybe there was a blow with him and no, I mean, the word on the street is that he was unhappy about that he was on. But he was also allegedly involved in telling Favreau and Filoni that he wasn't happy about the lack of screen time his face was getting, and they said, right, well, we're not going to deal with that right now, and he went above them. So that is the current rumor at the moment. So you don't do that. You know, he's basically snitching on them. So maybe that was part and parcel of it.
I think as well with the character. I mean, the reason why you can have successful masked heroes, you know, like Batman and so on and so forth, is because you do see the two sides of them. You see the vigilante side with the mask, but you also see the Bruce Wayne side. You know, you see, I get that, and I think that also, I'll tell you what though, I'll take my hat off to them for making a helmeted character who's like got his helmet on like 99.9% of the time and making him an interesting character. He is. Yeah. And that takes an awful lot of hard work to be able to create a character you can't connect with emotionally normally when they're completely facially covered, and get on board with them through 8 episodes, you know, and we did. I like the character. There is a character there. And to be able to present a character that is so disconnected from us, sort of denying us that connectability through facial recognition, facial expression, eyes, motives, and all the rest of it, to be able to pull through a performance that, you know, whoever's happens to be the one in the suit at the time, can do that and keep our interest and keep us connected to that character. I think that's a really clever pulling off of quite.
I agree with you on that one, but I'm in the camp of, like, I absolutely hate it when characters take their mask off, like Spider-Man or like Iron Man, for example, like mid-battle, or Batman. Like, I mean, even
mid-battle, no,
it's ridiculous. And not even at all. They shouldn't be taking stuff off. I mean, they should be in the suit, and that's it.
That's why I raised Batman. I mean, this is kind of Batman in a Western in space, and I personally don't have a problem as long as it's limited. I mean, it is unusual. Again, like, I'll just reinforce what I said, is that for us to be able to connect with the character you don't see on a facial level. I guess we see it with RoboCop. That's another one where they managed to make the character interesting whilst hiding most of his face.
Peter Weller's movements, were very much so important there,
And, you know, I guess Judge Dredd is another kind of example. Although
that's it with Carl Urban.
Sylvester Stallone one was, you know, let's take the helmet off because it's Sylvester Stallone. You know, that's the only reason why they take the helmets off or the masks off. It's because it's an A-lister. You've got to show the face. So that is a bit gimmicky.
But look at what
yeah, it's
Carl
not
Urban
popular.
did. You know what I mean? Carl Urban was a very big proponent for not doing that in his Dread movie. And I know you can say, well, he had the lower jaw to work off, which isn't much really. I know you would probably disagree and say, well, it's an awful lot more than what Pascal is getting, and it is in a way. But ultimately, like, the character shone through and the way he moved, the way he spoke, and I think like that. I think sometimes actors overestimate themselves, and I think with the voice actor, essentially as well too, like I said, with this guy being played by a couple of different people, I think you get a good voice actor in there, and I don't think it matters too much. I do think if they did want to, now I would be against this anyway, where you could have it, if he is gone, you'd get a sound alike in. I don't think that's a good idea, because I've seen Peter Cullen and Frank Welker talk about that, the voice of Optimus Prime and Megatron, about the basically the IP theft of that character. So we would rather, if Pascal has gone to either you, I think the best option going forward is just use Boba Fett. I mean, Tamara Morrison is there. He's a good actor. He's a solid actor. He sounds great. I mean, he really does. And with that Kiwi accent, that New Zealand accent, he's going to bring in fans, and especially in that armor. His merchandise is flying off the shelf. They're making a new figure of the Boba Fett character, a brand new one. So that would tell me that it's going to be around for quite a while.
Yeah.
That would be my opinion.
And you've got some great comments in there saying, I think the Mandalorian is the mask from Fake Hands. You've got Lorthoff with you guys, the mask should stay on in superhero guise. And we've got Kip Ellis there saying, Batman in the Western in space, I'm in. Yeah, totally agree.
Well, I know Ninja Knight has to head. He said he was going to head off at 10, but it's half 10.
He's enjoying yourself too much.
Not longer than, because I know he works and all. So, do you want to, can you hang on for a few more minutes, or do you want to give a rating and then?
I can hang on for about 3 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, right then. Well, if there's anything else you want to add before we leave, and then I'll let you give your rating and stuff.
Yep.
And don't forget, we will be doing this now on a weekly basis. I'm sure we'll receive the next episode tomorrow. So next Wednesday, it'll be every Wednesday now. We'll be doing a Mandalorian review. Now, obviously, I'll have to give a friendly reminder to Rabbi in his ear that I'm going to be doing that on Wednesday, so we can fit it around what we're going to be doing on his channel. So, so I'm going to shut up now because he's only got 3 minutes. Go ahead, Ninja.
I think that this is an important season. I think that the fact that Favreau is directing most of it is very encouraging. I do hope, like I said at the start of the show, the Ahsoka character doesn't infringe too much on this whole thing, because, like I said, I think it's a character that does in fact break canon. She is the timeless child of this series. I think the possibility, though, of using that character, particularly with the time travel elements, we have heard rumors of them undoing the sequel trilogy. It's a possibility that I would welcome. And I think that if they decided to go that route, it certainly would be interesting. We've also heard rumors of Ezra Bridger being recently cast, and that could be an interesting factor. We have also heard that Mark Hamill has signed away his likeness, and apparently there was an actor spotted on set as Luke Skywalker, so that could be an interesting dilemma to come forward. I personally think Cobb Vanth is the way to go forward if they don't decide to go with Boba Fett. I think Timothy Olyphant would be more than happy to continue on, but I would ultimately like to see Boba Fett maybe take over the show and become the Mandalorian, because I think he's long past what he's due at the moment, and I think I would love to see that character continue on. And I just want to say before I go, I really appreciate being on these streams. I really appreciate Noel. He's become a great friend. Problem Being has also become a great friend, and I want to thank everybody in the chat that's been so supportive, and I don't think I could find anybody more supportive than Noel and how he's been over the last couple of weeks that I've known, the last month or so that I've known. An absolute gent, and I have to say I'm delighted to see him succeed. I'm delighted to see this stream go so well. I'm just delighted to see everybody in the chat, and I really enjoy everything that you guys have done. Thank you.
Listen, look, we love what you do, and as I said, man, I think you're gonna do great in this fandom, and I think you're gonna become a major part of the fandom menace, because I really do believe that you're up and coming. And listen, already you said your subs are over 400. So listen, again, our goal is to get him to 1,000. So if you still haven't subscribed to his channel, please do, because we're trying to get him up to 1,000 subscribers. His watch hours as well are doing very well. Go in and start watching his content, guys. Build those watch hours up as well, so we can get him hopefully then monetized before Christmas. Yeah. I know that's not too far
Appreciate it.
away, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible. Listen, I went on Gary's channel one time and I got 400 subs in one stream. So it's
Wow.
possible to do it. So let's get him and share his channel, share his videos, let people know that he's about, so we can get him. It's 466 at the moment. You're on 466 subscribers.
Brilliant. Delighted with that.
And Chris has put your link up, so please do subscribe. And listen, mate, it's a pleasure knowing you, to be honest with you. Me and Lee.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
Great guy. He's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
So,
Great guy. China.
As we say, keep up the good work, mate. And I'm sure we'll cross paths on Twitter and some idiot. This is always something
inevitable.
Well, listen, thanks for coming on. Is there anything else you would like to add before you do go?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this episode for me was a 10 out of 10. It was fantastic. Beautiful Star Wars. I did my review on it last week, and I have to say, ultimately, thinking about it, after the last couple of years, thinking that Star Wars was going to die, it was effectively dead.
Yeah.
It made me emotional to see such good Star Wars. But again, there's always that fear of the rug being pulled out from underneath you.
I know. And you are right to be cautious, though. But the difference between you and other Star Wars fans that I've seen is you're willing to kind of wait and see what happens.
Wait and see, yeah.
There's others out there, which sadly to say, have already made up their minds. And that's a bit sad. So that's why I will encourage anybody. Listen, don't even listen to us on this panel. Go and check it out for yourselves, because you will only know how good or bad this show is if you go and check it out yourself.
That's right.
Absolutely. I'm going to pop off. Really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody involved. Much appreciated. And I'll talk to you all soon. Hail.
See you later. Right, we'll get you our scores in there. We'll get Lee's score. But also I've got some... so I've been approached, believe it or not, because obviously I do Doctor Who news, and I've been breaking some rumour and speculation. I've been approached by someone who claims to have some Star Wars news. Now, of course, as with all information that I put out there, and as this is a new person giving me this information, obviously, I'm going to be a little bit cautious, because I don't know these people, but they have reached out to me and given me some Star Wars news, which we will get into after Lee gives his rating and after I give my rating. I see a couple of guys there have given it an 8 out of 10 so far. We do seem to be getting good scores for this. Lee, what would you give it, pal?
Yeah, I think it's a really... I know this episode has got a quite a mixed response, from meh to outstanding to good to whatever. I think it was a strong opener. I eased in, but it is a bold easing in. It was like a good, solid opener. Nothing too much going on. Wasn't really advancing much of the story, but it kind of, I think it was setting the path for a potentially new, interesting avenue that they're going to explore with the Tuskens and obviously Boba Fett. It's going to be really interesting. I'm quite excited actually to see where it goes. Of course, we always have the caveat of being constantly aware that this could go derail at any point, and that's the fear. But it's almost kind of like exciting, to see if it will go woke or not. It's almost like lay your bets. Which is a bit nerve-wracking, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. It
is because we so want this to succeed,
Well, at the same time, isn't it? It's like a nervous excitement, but it is. Yeah. It is right. There's always going to be that thing. Well, will they pull the rug from underneath us? But still, I think there's.
It was devoid of any of that in this, and I love that. Some might argue it's a bit like, is this going to go down the sort of colonial route, or the exploitation of groups of people, etc. I don't know, but if that is what they're trying to put across, it didn't feel overt or tacky or pegged on or anything like that. I think it's a good bit of world building. I like to see the Tuscans explored. I think that's a really nice thing. And it takes a very sort of two-dimensional villain from, Star Wars into something that's a bit more evolved, a bit more explored, and a bit more three-dimensional. And I like that. I think it's a great idea. It's also good to see that that the Mandalorian is actually a good father figure. If you think about it, which we talked about in the other video that's going to come out after this.
Yeah, it's already being passed. Thanks be to God. So as soon as we finish the season 1 review that myself, Lee, and Ninja Knight did is ready to go. So I'll throw that up as soon as we're finished.
So yeah, I'm really excited about it, which is unusual for me to be excited about a show, because I got burnt again with The Boys. I was so disappointed. I was so excited when it came out, thinking, yeah, this isn't woke, this is great, and then they did the 180 on it, and boom, there it was, destroyed in front of my eyes again. It's like, oh, damn it, why can't they stop doing this? And it's always the second season they pull out all the woke cards. So I'm really nervous that this is going to be another bait and switch. Here's a really good first episode. Look, there's all these strong male characters, and they're not being cucked by anybody. Ta-da! Season, and then episode 2 would be like, Whammon power, Whammon, look at my rainbow flag, and it's going to be like, oh God, no, and it's going to be something that's going to throw me off a cliff, and I really hope that isn't the case, because
what you're rating it?
So shut up. I think I want to give it room to grow, so I'm going to say an 8 at this stage.
Yeah, I'd be in agreement. I think this is an 8 out of 10, 8.5 maybe. I'd go 1.5% more. 8.5. Listen, for me, good solid stuff. I really enjoyed this.
I think it was really good fun. Again, not a complicated story. It is based on very familiar stories we've all seen 1,000 times before, but it's in a way that it's still a delight to watch. And Lord Thoth in the chat there says that if you guys need someone for your panel, let me know. So we got a noob, not a noob, but a noob in terms of a panelist on.
No problem. Yeah, listen, we'll be doing these every Wednesday. So if you want to be part of it, that's the more the merrier. New panelists, that'll be absolutely fantastic. So yeah, every Wednesday, as we said. But listen, yeah, this has been. I mean, season 1, we do discuss it, not as much as we wanted to, but you'll hear what we said there. But season 2 has gotten off to an explosive start as far as I'm concerned. And I cannot wait to see. Hopefully, I think Rabbi gives us that episode tomorrow. I cannot wait to watch it. I'm going to be a little kid watching this now.
No, that's a good thing. I mean, look, it's turned you into a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
That is for me a positive.
Mm-hmm.
If that can be something that happens more than we're aware of, maybe people should relax a little bit on overly criticizing it. I understand why. Believe me, we all do. But I think that's a really good sign. For me, it's reinvigorated my interest in Star Wars again after so many years. I mean, seriously, I was not on board with the prequels, quite honestly. I'm sorry. I enjoyed some of it. Just most of it I didn't. It was far too tacky for me.
Yeah.
This, for me, I enjoyed Rogue One a lot more than I remember from doing the rewatch the other day. But this is more sort of light-hearted and more fun.
Yeah.
For me, and it isn't overly complicated. Doesn't bother me as long as it's fun, it's entertaining. Remember the fun, that thing.
Yeah.
This is fun. I think if you tend to put on your fan hat too much and you overanalyze it, looking for things to pick it on it, I think you're missing the entertainment, and I think you have to take it for what it is.
Yeah,
I think it is a slight olive branch.
Yeah,
and I think that's their way of placating the fans and sort of trying to apologize in the only way they know how, by doing something decent.
There was a bit of pushback from apparently Kathleen Kennedy and stuff, there was people like giving out that this show was being made. So the fact that this might annoy Kathleen Kennedy should really get
That's
people
enough reason to watch it and make it successful.
because, you know, she doesn't have her greasy hands on it, and you can tell that she doesn't have her greasy hands on it. So listen, Jon Favreau, all I just want to say to you is thank you very much. I even wrote him a message on Twitter because I have been that impressed, and it says, thanks to you and this show, you have turned me into a Star Wars fan, and I mean that. So if this show, right, is a gateway, it has been a gateway for me to go back and watch Star Wars again. I think it's doing its job.
I think it's a good thing to get younger fans who may not be on board with Star Wars into Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think it's a good gateway. I think it's a good way of explaining it. I think it's a good family show. It's not overly, I mean, it's got violence in it, but it's not like gratuitous. And it isn't complicated. So like younger kids who, you know, you're okay with watching this kind of stuff, you know, listen, I think it's fine. Listen, as I said in the last video, it isn't complicated. It doesn't have loads of layers and nuance and, you know, all the subtext and all the, you know, subplots and all the rest. Neither did Star Wars.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you look at the original Star Wars trilogy, it wasn't that complicated either.
Well, in fairness, though, I think people tend to forget, Lee, you're a Star Wars fan, so you don't. I mean, this was never supposed to be a thing. It was only one movie. There wasn't even, when he made that first movie, there was no.
Yeah, I don't buy into this that he had, you know, like the Phantom Menace was the first thing he'd written, you know, in mind, but he wanted to do what they call a new, I call it Star Wars, was because he didn't want it to be overly political, and you know, as the Phantom Menace Phantom Menace turned out. I don't buy that. Like that, I just don't. It just doesn't seem to me like that was the episode one that he had in mind to start with.
Not the Star Wars.
I don't think so.
Now, as I said, I haven't got you know me. I haven't got a clue what goes on in the Star Wars universe, right? Because
listen, I was never one that was on board with the extended universe. I loved the movies as a kid. I collected all the toys as a kid. I saw the Return of the Jedi in the cinema when I was finally old enough to go and watch it in the cinema. And when it was on TV, I used to watch it all the time. And, you know, in the playground, you'd run around playing Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and all the rest of it. And, you know, that was it. And I used to get some of the Star Wars comics as well as a kid. But for me, my main fandom has always and will always be Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So that's where my interest lies. I still love Star Wars.
Same here.
The prequels turned me off of Star Wars a lot. So when the sequels came along, I thought this is their chance to really draw me back in. Boy, big mistake. Never happened in my eyes. And so I really felt that I've been denied the joys of Star Wars since, really. And I really didn't like the special editions. I thought they were really distracting with all the CGI. So again, that kind of, when they brought that back, I was excited to see the new remastered versions on when they came out in the cinema, and you know, I did the whole lot of them, you know, in one go, and that was fun and exciting, brought back those memories. But you know, again, sort of the hypnosis got the better of me, and I look back on it now and I'm just like, yeah, I kind of prefer the, you know, the original versions for me, because the charm in it, that's how it was. That's the cinematic purity, I guess. I guess that's how I say it. But like, yeah, I mean, Rogue One was as close as I think we've gotten with Star Wars in Disney, quite honestly. But this has been a bit of a little gem that's shining in the moonlight from the darkness of Star Wars that we've had lately. I'm more than pleased with it. I'm more than happy to get on board with this and see where it goes, and just hope to God that they don't fuck it up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, look, I have great hopes for this show, but we will be watching with cautious optimism, and we can hope and pray that Favreau continues to give us this good look. It's a good start for me. Season 2 started off well. Let's see where he takes us, and I'm willing to give it a go. But I do have some Star Wars news now. As you know, my forte is actually Doctor Who. I don't know much when it comes to what fans are talking about when it comes to rumor and speculation. So if this news happens to be out there already, someone can let me know, but I don't know. But this is what I've received today. And as I said, this is someone that has approached me, and I've checked them out. I've checked them out, and they are in the Star Wars community, but they don't want to be obviously named. So I've been given this information, so I'll just read it out, and you guys can let me know what you think. So apparently, the Mandalorian is going to be retconning the sequel trilogy. This is the whole plan. They've already started this with the destruction of the second Death Star, which is different from the rise of Skywalker. And they want to continue to contradict the events as they go on. There will be a Jedi thing done eventually, so that Luke will be more of a hero, and Rey and etc. will be they'll be basically in an alternative timeline. And they're also apparently, according to this news, they are going to recast Luke and Leia, and they're trying to bring the guy back who played Han Solo in the movie Solo. Now, for me personally speaking, I don't think he looks anything like Harrison Ford, and Solo lost money. That's all I know. So that's the news. That's what I've been given. It's the first time I've done some Star Wars news on this channel, but that's what I have received. So I'll repeat again. So the Mandalorian is going to slowly retcon the sequel trilogy out of canon. They've already started this with the destruction of the second Death Star, which is different from the rise of Skywalker, and will continue to contradict events as they go on. There will be some Jedi thing done eventually, so that Luke will be more of a hero. Rey will end up in an alternative timeline. They will also recast Luke and Leia, and they are trying to get the guy back who played Han Solo.
I'd cast the guy who was in the fan film, A Smuggler's Trade. I don't know if people.
Yeah, you sent it to me last night.
He looks and sounds a lot more like Han Solo than this guy does. And believe me, I was on set with that guy. So I mean, like, yeah, I didn't see it then, and I was very worried. But we were
now again, as I, not a fan, I can't cross-reference any of this information. As I said, this person decided to come to me again. We do get people coming to me all the time, whether it's got to do with Star Wars, Doctor Who. Even today, I got some more Doctor Who information. But I'm looking into it before I actually put it out there, because a couple of the images that I was already sent, one or two of them can already be debunked. So before we do put news out there, we try to see if we can debunk it or try prove it somehow. I haven't been able to prove any of this information that I've given, but that's what I've received, and that's what I'm putting out there for you. And again, with all rumor and speculate, with all news that we give, it's rumor and speculation, of course, until Disney or whoever makes announcement, or we see a movie or a film or whatever. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this long enough, you think I know what I'm bleeding down. But yeah, just wait until an official announcement. But that's what I've been given. I don't know how you feel about that. I know for a fact that there's a lot of Star Wars fans that do want to see the sequel trilogy erased from canon. If Jon Favreau is indeed doing that with the Mandalorian, I want to ask you all, firstly, how you all feel about that. And Lee, I want to ask you, since it seems that you're on the panel, how do you feel about the fact that Rey might be in an alternative timeline, the whole thing about Luke and Leia being recast, and them bringing back the guy that played Solo in Han Solo? No, Solo, the guy that played Han in Solo. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Right. So what do you think? Go on, give us your opinions. What?
Do it.
Do it? Is that it? Is that all? I know you're trying to talk like the emperor, but you're very low. You're very low.
Do it.
So you want them to do it. What do you guys think in the chat? Oh, but have you got a problem with Leia and see, 'cause I need your opinion on that actually. How would you feel about them if they do get recast?
I think it's inevitable anyway. I think it depends on how they do it. I think there's going to be a large swathe of the fandom who will be dead set against it. I think if it is done in a way that undoes any damage any damage. I mean, all of the damage that has been done by Fem Wars. I think that it would be again, Favreau has to trade carefully on this and deliver the goods. If he can do it, I don't have a problem with that. It depends again if it's recasting with people who look like the people they're supposed to be and act like the people they're supposed to be, or if they're going to go down the whole deep fake route, which again has to be done, I think, sensitively and carefully. I think there's going to be a lot of people who'll be dead against it for whatever reason. But for me, I don't have a problem with it as long as it's done with reverence for those characters, and if it undoes the shit show that we got, and it sets up potentially a rectifying, maybe a Luke Skywalker film in the future where it can undo this damage. If it's done as a setup for that, I'm on board. And what was the other stuff?
The fact that they that Rey and all this nonsense is in an alternative timeline, and the guy that played Solo,
the Solo thing, I think
going to be brought back.
I really think that was a miscast in the first place. I think bringing him back, I don't know, maybe giving him another shot to I don't know. So I'm kind of not in the mind really to want to see him back in the role. I think it was miscast, quite honestly. As I said, this other guy in the fan, I think I've seen other fan films or other pictures of other actors who look more like Harrison Ford and then can act and have the voice and all the rest of it, and then mannerisms. Listen, Han Solo as a character is highly nuanced, and because it's so connected to the actor, you know, it's so much that persona that shines through in Indiana Jones and all the rest of it. It's so ingrained there. I think it's very difficult to get that kind of magic. It's the kind of Tom Baker thing, you know, the lightning in a bottle. You can't recast another Tom Baker. You know what I mean? It's so you run the risk of just simply setting up the idea, which is great in principle on paper, but you can never deliver it because whoever you cast is never going to be right. Doesn't matter how hard you try. And I think that you know, it's the actor that breathes the life into that character. And if it's a different actor playing that character, it's never going to be the same, and it's always going to have that awkward, uneasy feeling, you know, that uncanny valley where, yeah, you can see what they're trying to do, but it's not them. You know it's not them, and that always kind of plays in your mind when you're watching things back. We'll see. As I said, I'm not against the idea. It's how they execute the idea.
Yeah. Isn't it? Yeah.
Which is always the
problem.
problem.
I don't know how you guys feel in the chat. I have to be honest though, and I'm gonna say, and this is talking as say a new Star Wars fan. I would feel very uncomfortable with them replacing Luke and Leia. Obviously, the actor, obviously she's not around. Carrie Fisher's not around anymore. But the only way that I think could work, you mentioned it, is deep fake technology. But I don't know. I do agree with you.
Well, they've already stated that they're not going to. I mean, they weren't, you know, going to use deep fake or anything like that when she passed for Revenge of the whatever the fuck it was. I can't remember anymore. Revenge of the, what was it? What was that? I can't even fucking remember what the last Star Wars movie.
You had Rise of Skywalker.
Rise, yeah, that thing.
That's
Oh god, that's how hard I blotted it out from my memory.
When you're a Star Wars fan yourself and you worked on them as
It's because I'm a Star Wars fan. I blotted it out from my memory. But look, they said they were not going to do that with her. They had footage and they said they weren't going to try and do anything like they did with Rogue One with her, out of respect. They said if they do that for this, it kind of backtracks on what they said then, which wouldn't surprise me either. But I don't know. I really don't know. Again, it's the execution of it. How are they going to do it? If they do that, go down that road, best leave well alone. Again, as I said, if it is to set up Luke to change the timeline of this travesty of shite that they churned out for these 3 films, if you want to call them that, then I am kind of more on board. If there's a reason for doing it, not just because member berries, if there's a reason for doing it, if they're there to course correct and set up a future project where we get to see Luke being actually heroic as an older Luke, all for that. If that's where they're going, I don't want it to just be done for fan service and to get people to watch it, because that's what they do in Doctor Who now. They're just bringing all these people back. Same thing they did in Star Trek Discovery. Bring all these characters in that everyone's going to go, member berries. Oh yeah, that feels like proper whatever franchise it is, and it's not. It can be very. If it's cynically employed, I'm not interested. If it's creatively justifiable and a setup for something else that can rectify something that's already been damaged and change that, I'm down with that. I'm down for that. I'm totally on board if that is where they want to take it. Otherwise,
I just see someone in the chat there, Randall Wilson. He says, "Can someone talk to me?" I hope you're all right, pal. I know this lockdown is getting to everybody. If you're feeling a bit down, lads, in the chat, cheer Randall up there. He wants someone to talk to him. And we don't like anybody feeling left out in the chat. So there you go. Chris, our head moderator, in there already. I hope you're all right, Randall. Yeah, listen, getting back to this, if it's done cynically, the fans will see through it anyway, Lee. And they won't be. Look, Disney.
And Clobbering Times is right. Absolutely. And greetings to my Blake Seven brother.
Oh yeah, Blake Seven brother. Are you up for a bit of Blake Seven brother? We're on season 2 now, so let us know, and we might have a Blake Seven. Watch a few episodes tonight because I really want to see what happens now. Yeah, because they left on a bit of a cliffhanger. So
bit of a cliffhanger there.
Yeah,
but Clobbering Times is right. Remakes and recastings are 99.9999% of the time trash to me, especially like Star Trek stuff. I happen to agree. As I said in my explanation, they set up the idea that it looks great on paper, but the execution of it always falls short because they're not played by the original actors, and very often than not, you simply cannot put lightning back into a bottle. Once you let that go, you can't get it back, and it doesn't work.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, I don't know. I think some movies have worked. I mean, for example, Scarface would be one that I would say was a remake. The one with obviously with what's his name, Al Pacino. That was a remake of an old movie that did very well. It can work if treated with respect, but this is Star Wars. This has a huge fandom, and they will see through it if it's cynical. But I don't know, because Star Wars fans are in a bit of a position. They've seen their franchise being destroyed.
I think Star Wars fandom is in a very strong position because they've affected change simply by the fandom menace. That moniker alone has been enough to put the shits up Disney, and I think I think out of all the fandoms, actually, Star Wars fans have the strongest hand because they've proved their power.
Yes, they have.
Really have. Unlike Doctor Who, unlike Star Trek, the huge volume of voices on the side of the fandom menace, which is obviously a play on the Phantom Menace. It has a brand now. Phantom Menace is now a brand. There's books written about it now.
They've got books. I was asked to actually come on. So one of the authors of the books has actually approached me because he wants to talk about
if anyone would need to be
the bullying and the mental health side of fandoms, because he obviously had seen what was going on with me and the missus, and he didn't like it. And he wanted me to do an interview for to be part of the book, which I thought was a great offer. I actually have to get back to him on that one, which I'll do soon. But I've had a couple of offers from the Fandom Menace side to actually come on to a couple of streams and talk about the abuse that fans do receive in fandom. It's absolutely it's absolutely ridiculous. But fans, Star Wars fans, you're right. The Phantom Menace was growing out of the sequel trilogy. Yeah. They do have power. I don't think the Mandalorian.
They're the daddy of the fandom now. They've proven it can work. If you club together, loosely form a coalition of like-minded people, and that's what it is. It's just a hashtag. Look at what they did. You know, I mean, it's torn apart Disney's grip over Star Wars. It really has. The Mandalorian has been a bit of a bone that's been thrown out to stop the hordes attacking them, and hopefully it's stuck in their mind. I think this is serious. Like, Phantom Menace must be on their lips 24/7. I wish to God we had the same level of that fear among with Doctor Who. I really do.
Yeah, it's a good lesson. I mean, look, already talking about Doctor Who, I don't want to get into it too much, but I'll talk to you off air about it. But apparently, myself and Rabbi are doing being hammered right now on Gallifrey base because we've encouraged.
Who cares? Who's even left on there? Everyone else must have been thrown off there. Unless you fall to the SJW politics. They don't want you in there. And since there's only about 20 people in the world who actually believe in this shit, they're welcome to it. Listen, they're a cesspool. I don't give a fuck. I've never been on Gallifrey base. I will never be on Gallifrey base. They're probably happy about that. I'm more than fucking happy about that. These people are idiots. And like people I know who, when before 2005 relaunched Doctor Who, people who were on Gallifrey base said it was the most relaxed, informal, really geeky, nerdy little group on there, and they were just having a great time. It was really relaxed and chill. Then 2005 wallop. It was all of a sudden everyone was arguing. Amazing that, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, apparently we're being hammered because we've encouraged people to email Tim Davey about the state of Doctor Who.
It's a public email. It's an email you can find online. It's not hidden away. And it's our right, especially if people are paying their TV license, to demand answers. And he's the man in charge.
Exactly. So, look at...
how many times have we been ignored by the BBC complaints department? We've been ignored by Piers Wenger. We've been ignored by Chris Chibnall. Who else do you turn to?
Yeah, exactly. Chris, do me a favour, mate. Throw that email up again, will you, please?
Please do.
Thank you.
Tim.davey at bbc.co.uk.
We'll throw it up so people can... And email them. But remember, as we said, be polite. Tell them about your worries about Doctor Who, and if you can, I'll
tell you what. If there's no other reason than it pisses the people on Gallifrey base off so much, do it and do it more.
Sure, I'll show you the messages later on. I just don't want to get involved with Gallifrey base.
I'm not on there. I don't give a flying fuck what they say.
But I'll most certainly show you when we do Doctor Who tomorrow. When we do the TARDIS Zone talks, I'll show you them. But it's absolutely quite ridiculous. They're calling us 12-year-olds. Listen, at the end of the day, right, we have every right to complain.
Yeah, they're the ones name calling, so gives a fuck.
And you know why you're doing this? Because the last time I headed up a campaign where I told people to email the BBC because of my campaign, and I am going to take credit for this because I never do. I'm not that big-headed, but I will this time. I'm going to take credit for it. Because of my campaign, BBC were forced to come out and make 3 statements. That wouldn't have happened if
but look at every time
the email them.
Look at every time that we've done this, and the response has been pathetic. So what are we supposed to do? Like we've gone through the email process, through the complaints department process, and we've been fobbed off over and over and over. The cancer scene and the timeless child thing was absolutely battered away and dismissed with the most pathetic, robotized, formulated response. It was just so unimaginative, unengaging, and dismissive. Who else are we going to turn to? The only voice within the BBC that remotely sounds like any one of us is Tim Davie himself. He's new in the job. He has a task to do. He is a hatchet man. He has an important job to do. And I respect anyone going in there to face the terror of common purpose within the BBC. And that's where it lies. And I really hope that he is a man of his word. And this is why I want to appeal to him directly, because he's the only one who seems to be speaking any remote sense out of this torrid nonsense within the BBC. And this is why I want to connect with him, and why I want you lot to connect with him, because I think if anyone is going to listen, it's him. He was the one who promoted and marketed Doctor Who globally. He was instrumental, as I believe, in helping make it a global success. If anyone understands it, he does. And I suspect he's a fan. So I don't know that, but I kind of believe maybe he is.
Listen, if this is the guy that helped make Doctor Who global, he knows the ins and outs of this show.
He knows how it is flagging.
And I don't want to get into, because this is a Star Wars stream, but part of the information was that he did go to Chris Chibnall and wanted them to postpone the season, which we spoke about actually a few months back when we got the original information as well. So there was talk of it being postponed, because I think he's looking at it now, the state of it now, and he knows it's not doing well. Now, he might let Chris Chibnall continue and do his Series 13, but I think he'll cut his losses after that. And I honestly do believe that if Series 13 does go ahead, that Chris Chibnall is going to triple down. He's going to do.
This is why it's so important.
Down. Gary was right about him doubling down. Nobody believed Gary when Gary came out with the information, said he was going to double down. And I've went and apologized to him, and he knows this. I even was starting to question it, because I was saying, really, would they really do this? They've already proven that they can. So when I got this information yesterday, even though it sounds crazy, because I even looked at it, and
it sounds crazy enough to be true.
To be a piss take, but this is Chris Chibnall, right? We've seen what he's done, so this is not impossible.
It's not beyond the pale. Listen, no, I will say this: now is more important than ever. Listen, before they get off the ground, get in there. This can be stopped. Potentially, if there's enough people doing this. I can't emphasize this enough. This is leading up to the absolute utter destruction of Doctor Who. And I don't care what people on Gallifrey, listen, people on Twitter and Gallifrey base can criticize us all the fuck they like. You're not going to shut us up, and we are not going to stop because of you. We are only going to encourage us. The more you batten down the hatches, the more you target us, the more determined we get to actually do this. So either shut up and let us do our thing, or by all means encourage us further by criticizing us and coming after us. Because quite honestly, we've had enough of your shit for the last 3 years, and your death threats, your narcissism, your insults, your constant barrages of mean tweets and all the bullshit that you put us through. We are more determined than fucking ever.
But in fairness, right, he's right. I mean, look, this nonsense about, the nonsense that's been going on for 3.5 years or whatever it is now at this stage since that woman's been cast and he was announced as showrunner is absolutely ridiculous. People have forgotten that we all do have different opinions, and just because we don't like this era, and I'll say it again, I don't want to get into that because this is about the Mandalorian, but all I'll just say on that is that not every Doctor Who fan out there has liked every single era of Doctor Who that's been ever put out there, right? Doesn't make them any less of a fan. They just don't like that particular era, and then they wait and hope for the next one to be better.
Here's
right?
a question.
But we're not going to sit back.
Here's a question. Here's a question.
Because no way are we going to stay silent when all.
Here's a question. No, here's a question for these people. Show us your receipts. Show us that you are paid up TV license fee payers. If you're a big fan of this era of Doctor Who, I want to see your receipts for your BBC license fee. Listen, most of these kids are like, what, 20 something? How many of them have TV licenses? Who's paying for this? I mean, look, over 7 million households, 7 million households have switched off. They are TV license fee payers generally, right? Because they're the ones who go, I'm not paying for this shit. And quite honestly, it's a lot of the older fans who generally do tend to pay the TV license. Younger people tend not to pay the TV license. I guarantee it. I know students don't pay it.
Yeah.
So you're not paying for this shit. A lot of people are. So, if you're claiming that you love this era so much, let's see your receipts and how much you're paying for it.
Right. Listen, we're going to leave it there because I'll tell you why. I'm going to, later on, I'm going to put that Star Wars rumors that I've gotten. I'm going to put them up later on for you in text form, as I did. Now, there are people that were complaining about a 4-hour live stream yesterday. I'm not going to watch a 4-hour live stream just to check out the Doctor Who.
Well, 1,000 people have, so.
Right. Well, here's the thing. You don't even need to go to the live stream, but if you just want to know, it's within the first 5 minutes as we go live anyway. It's at the start of when I introduce Lee and the other guests, we get straight into it. But if you don't want to watch a 4-hour live stream, but I would actually encourage you to, because there was very good points made about the news. We broke it all down and we had a long discussion about it. But if you're just interested in the facts, in the rumors, the speculation, I have put the video up in text form, which is actually doing very well as well. I think that one has now, I don't know how many views it has, but I think it has over 200 views now. The live stream we did last night has broke the 1,000 barrier. So I want to thank every single person that has took the time to watch that stream. 368 views for the text version of the video, and we've got 1,000 over 1,000 people watched the 4-hour live stream. I would advise you to watch the 4-hour live stream for the simple fact of the matter is we do talk about the news in more detail. We do break it down, and then we just give our opinions of what we think about it, which you don't get in the other video, obviously.
And if you want to come back on Friday, we're doing the TARDIS talks. So if you want to come in and chat with with Noel about.
I was actually going to promo that as I always do, but he's right. We do have the TARDIS Zone talks tomorrow. And it's not just for Doctor Who news. If you want to talk about the Mandalorian, if you want to talk about the latest news about James Bond, No Time to Die, as well, there's some news there as well. Or whatever you want to talk about. That's the whole idea of the TARDIS Zone talks. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we bring you on. We give you about 10 minutes each to have you our say. We keep bringing the guests on, and it does be good. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done it. And I know there's a lot of people that are in the chat that are keen for it to come back. So we're finally back to do it. But this is the little promo for you now. Isn't Lee a genius? There you go. that's what we have tomorrow. So listen, we got plenty going on. Let me see. We got Daniel putting the channels up. Well done, Daniel. Thank you very much. Chris has put the email address up for Tim Davey. Listen, the fact that these kids, if that's what we want to call them, are 20-odd-year-olds, are having
Kids.
a go, shows that they're actually, worried.
Paying for it.
And they should be, because we're not going to stop. And I think, Doctor Who fans, we need to have the same mentality as the Fandom Menace. We really need to start having our voices being heard. And I'm going to be continuing this. You know me, I've been always on the front line anyway. I've never given up this fight. I never will. Some people think I'm crazy and should let it go. I won't. I'll never let it go until Chris Chibnall, Jodie Whittaker, and the rest of them are gone. Listen, they destroyed a 57-year-old franchise. They don't get a free pass.
No.
And I'll not stand by and stay silent.
And it's not an extreme point of view. This is like over half the audience, like 60% of the audience has fucked off. And that was before The Timeless Child.
Yeah.
So we don't even know the fallout from that.
Yeah.
Come on. This is not an extreme point of view. Over half the audience is gone
So,
in the UK
I'm pretty
alone.
sure those J-bots that are attacking us on Gallifrey base will probably start sending Tim Davey emails. Don't care, send them, man.
By all means, he will know your virtue signalling all the way anyway. He'll be able to tell the genuine.
Virtual signaling her, so go ahead, you'll be laughed at. Because at the end of the day,
knows
he's making changes.
He is
making changes, and he knows, as Lee said, he's not a stupid man. He's a clever man. This man seen Doctor Who at its height in its popularity, especially during the 50th anniversary year. It was huge. And he was the forefront of all the promotion for it worldwide. So this guy knows what this show is capable of. And I'm telling you now, if he was looking at Doctor Who now, he knows it's not in a healthy state. So as I said, there's the email address again. Chris is at the putting up there. Now, we don't want, as we said, be polite, right? Give your bullet points. Tell him why you're worried about this 57-year-old franchise, and tell him what you think must be done, but do it in a polite way. As we said, myself and Lee have said this, if we find out that anybody has been sending them any sort of, messages or emails,
to frame us, we'll know about it and we disavow any of you. And if you're willing to sink that low to do something like that, then I think that you are the biggest hypocrites.
But we will let them know. We're going to let them know. We're going to have our voices be heard, because I'm sick and tired of this. It's about time that this side of the fandom actually, and I will say, in fairness, though, when I have asked you to get involved in campaigns, you have been great. And you have, especially on this channel. You have been absolutely wonderful. But we need to start encouraging other people to do the same. We need to have our voices heard. Look at the Phantom Menace was born out of Star Wars, the disaster of the sequel trilogy. We've got a disaster on our hands. So, Revolution of the Whovians wasn't, that name didn't come out of nowhere. That's our side of it. Revolution of the Whovians. We are going to be having a Revolution of the Whovians stream as well, because we're going to be talking about all of these things. We're going to do it before he drops that special anyway. So that'll be next month, and I'm going to have panelists. We're going to fill the screen. We're going to get as many panelists on, and we're going to break down the whole of Chris Chibnall's era, the fandom, the way they act, the kind of behavior that goes on. We're going to be talking about it all, because it needs to be spoke about. But we need you guys to start doing yours a bit now. And the emails is just the start. We'll be coming up with other plans and other ideas for you. I just not going to mention Anton yet, because we there are plenty of other things that we can do to put pressure on these guys to change course. Because I'm not giving. I said it from day one. The only way you're going to stop me from doing this is if I drop dead on that computer screen. I'm not going anywhere. I'm in for the long haul. I'm not going anywhere. You know, that's why I probably take all the hits all the time, because I'm still at the forefront. Even these J bots are saying, well, why is he still going? Because I told you, I won't rest until Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker are gone and until Doctor Who is saved. And I'll do everything in my power with the people that I have supporting me to have their voices be heard. And they will be heard. You will not silence us anymore. BBC will listen to us, because if they don't listen to us, we're going to encourage everybody to tune out. We are going to ruin the BBC if they do not change course. And I will listen, I'm friends within people within the Fandom Menace. If I get them on board as well, it's game over. We will get people to boycott the BBC, to stop buying merchandise, and we will put a hole in their pockets. They are not getting away with this anymore. They've gotten away with it for 3 years since she's been cast. He's not going to... listen, if these latest rumours are true, which I'm not saying they are, because we don't know yet, but if these latest rumours are true, you know that's game over for Doctor Who. This show doesn't recover, right? This show doesn't recover from this nastiness, right? Doesn't. The shit that they're talking about will kill the show. No, they're telling me that Davros isn't the fella that's pulling the strings. It was some woman bitch. Fuck off. Sick of all this female. Females are fucking great.
Yeah, anybody needs to make, to constantly parade and stick out the chest and constantly go on and on and on about the same thing over and over and over again. They've got nothing to say, quite honestly. I mean, it's just so over the top. It's so self-serving. Notice me, notice me, notice me, notice me, notice me, notice me. It's like, how many times do we need to be drawn attention to this issue that seems to be stuck in their craw? Not interested anymore, because I've switched off to it now, because it's so constant, and it's like nag. I don't want to be nagged anymore. This is nagging at its worst. Done with the Karen shit. Not listening anymore, and people are just naturally turned off by it, because it is nagging. It's a constant nagging, and I'm sorry, if you want to destroy stereotypes, stop the fucking nagging, right? That's it. We're just done with it. Just not interested.
I don't want to go on to a rant. Everybody thinks I'm going to rant here. Well, I probably will. And if I do rant, it doesn't matter, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm sick of these morons. But listen up. Doctor Who's supposed to be for everybody. When BBC came out during Series 12 with the promotion said Space for All, they were talking out their arse, right? They were talking about the Rainbow Warriors, right? Now listen, I have no problem with representation being in Doctor Who, but when it's forced like it has been, and I don't care if there's YouTubers out there that'll call me a white supremacist or racist or phobe, right? You're a moron, right? You're a shill, right? And the only reason why you're popular is because you got all of these little assholes boosting you up. Nobody watches your channel, actually. Your views are down because nobody listens to you, because they know you're a little shill wanker, right? But I'm going to say this, right? Doctor Who is supposed to be for everybody, right? But what Chris Chibnall has done, he has isolated the main part of the fandom, which is the hardcore fans. When you get them to switch,
and the normies. Don't forget that.
But hold on though. Yeah, the normies are important. I will get to that, right? But when you get the main fans to walk away from this show, which we have seen over the 3 years that this show, Jesus Christ, 2 seasons in 4 years or so, it's ridiculous, right? Whatever it is, right? But 2 seasons we've had, and in those 2 seasons we have seen a ratings drop off, right? That's all the fans turning away. Now, what happened during the Series 12 was very interesting. Not only did fans walk away, but the normies, as Lee alluded to, also walked away. Now, if the general public walk away, right, then there's no hope for this show. 7 million households, 60, what did you say? 60% of the fandom have walked away.
57.2, and that's before the fallout at the time was charged.
Right, that was before the fallout, right? So I'm sorry, when you go down this route and you pander to a small bunch of dickheads on Twitter, then this is what you're going to get. And they are dickheads on Twitter. They're bullies, right? We've seen it firsthand. You've seen the way I've been treated. You see the way Lee's being treated, Rabbi's being treated, and anybody else that comes out against this era, the way they've been treated, right? That's the people that the BBC are pandering to, right? Tim Davie doesn't like these assholes, just like we don't like these assholes. So again, that's why I'll encourage us to email Tim Davie because, and by the way, as well, I would suggest to some of you people out there that have been bullied by these gobshites, if you have any screenshots, cover the person's name, but send a PDF to Tim Davie and
Oh
show,
yeah,
and show
absolutely,
him
brilliant.
the behavior of these fans and what they're capable of doing, calling people pedophiles, white supremacists, racists, is any phobe you can think of.
Brilliant, absolutely. Do that. If you've had any experience like that, screenshots, anything like that, send it to him. Absolutely, prove to them all the. Listen, I'm sure they're more than capable of doing the same for people that they call NMDs, which we are not, never have been. But let them, because we would also disavow that behavior as well.
And people on the Not My Doctor side that are engaging in this horrible behavior of attacking people, attacking the way they look, or attacking them if they have disabilities.
You're not on our side, mate.
Too, right? Who the hell do you think you are? Right? Don't be going after vulnerable people. All right? It's not that you don't be going after fans anyway, you morons. Right? If you have a problem with the BBC, that's who you go after. The BBC. You don't go after people that support this. Right, because they're morons anyway. They haven't got a clue. They're clueless twats, right? They actually think that this whole story arc with the Timeless Children is something magnificent. It's the weakest bleeding story arc that I've ever came across, but according to them, it's genius, right? So it just goes to show you that their level of intelligence compared to us is really low. They don't have any intelligence because they actually buy this shit, right? This shit was created by an asshole for assholes, right?
I agree with that.
End of. And I'm sick of it. And what Matt Stevens, right? I'll say to him and Chris Chibnall, it is a democracy, right? And while you're running the show, no, you won't do what you want to do. You will listen to the fans, yeah? End of. And that's it. I wish I had Chris Chibnall's email address myself because I'd love to send him a lovely email. I wouldn't get aggressive, but I want to send him an email and tell him exactly how I feel about his era because he got that opportunity. Remember, he got that opportunity to slay Pip and what's Pip and Jane Baker, right? With the way he criticized the show, yeah. But he doesn't give us the same opportunity. By the way, in the latest Doctor Who magazine, he's in there with the production notes, and even the fans that support this era are criticizing him because they says he should be held accountable for false advertising. The asshole still now won't give anybody any snippets of what's going on in the latest episode that's coming up. This guy does not respect fans. He never has, and he doesn't respect the show. So everybody, I don't mind the J-bots because they're clueless idiots anyway, but we have a job to do. Right, and
it's disservice to Jodie Whittaker. I mean, even if you support her,
do you know what?
She's not doing her any favors. He's actually destroying her career. If you care about her, like you say you do, speak up.
If she stays on, right?
She'll be forever known as the woman who helped destroy Doctor Who.
Now she had any bleeding decency and cop on because this is vile what's happening. And by the way, this is the very same company, the very same studios that are going to be doing the thing about Jimmy Savile, a paedophile that molested thousands and thousands of kids, right? And they think that that's justified to do a dramatization.
And not only that, now we're hearing talk that Chibnall is in line to relaunch Blake 7. I am absolutely shitting a brick if that's true.
Well, I'm hoping to get more news for you on that one because
that will blow my mind. I think I will march to the BBC at that point.
And there's no way. Listen, even me watching this, I could say that this is one show that can't be remade. You leave it alone.
Yeah,
leave it alone. It doesn't need to be touched. And if Chris Chibnall does get his hands on it, well, then we know what's already going to happen, right? We already know there's going to be gender swaps done, race swaps done. You know, we're gonna have.
And it already had a diverse cast. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be made woke. It was damn good as it was, and it was a warning against authoritarian assholes like we see on Twitter anyway.
But I'm done with all of these little shits, right? And there's certain accounts out there that need to be held to account, and we're not going to stop until they are held to account, because it's not just. This is the atmosphere that Chris Chibnall and his team have created, and we are going to destroy it. We want to bring the fandom back to where it was, right? A nice place where we can discuss Doctor Who openly without being attacked. And Tim Davie will listen to us. So keep those emails going in, and as I said, keep them polite, and let me know and let Lee know. Let us know on this channel if you do get a response. And if you do get a response, do me a favor. If you'd like to send it on to me so I could do a video and show everybody that you're being responded to by Tim.
And I would also say to those in Gallifrey base and on Twitter who think it would be a fun idea to try and subvert what we're doing by bombarding him with emails or whatever to state your case. Listen, the numbers are in. Like, it's undeniable. The viewing ratings have gone through the floor. It's going to continue to go through the floor. I predict, and I'm going to stick my neck out here and say that the Christmas special is going to bomb. Yeah. And
listen, that's what I mean. That's why people should keep sending those emails, because when that special drops, the rating is going to go down even further. And I guarantee you, after that, Tim Davie is going to look. He's going to have a look. He's going to see the complaints from you all, because you sent in these are emails, and I guarantee you there'll be a decision made. I bloody guarantee it. And listen,
now's the time.
Gallifrey base on Twitter, go ahead and email him. He's already made it clear that he's not going to pander to you twats anymore. He's told his staff not to pander and not to be going out all of it. He's already told them. Now, I know that's kind of upset you all. Say, oh, he's a racist, he's sexist, he's this, that. No, he's not. No, he's not. What he's doing is he's trying to bring the BBC back to where they were, where they're balanced in their opinions. They're not left, they're not right, they're in the fucking middle where they should be, right? Yeah. And their shows should reflect that too, right? Look at Classic Who. Classic Who would show you both sides of an argument. If you were doing something, for example, the Green Death, they showed you both sides of the argument there, didn't they? With the fossil fuels and all of this, right? So this is what we're talking about. And that's why we do say when people talk about the political, and they talk about all of the episodes back then were political. Yes, they were, but they were balanced. As I said, they show both sides. You don't have Greta Thunberg turning up in season 12 giving us a fucking lecture about fucking plastic, and then they use plastic and fly around all the world twice over to fucking South Africa
and making toys that don't sell made of plastic that just end up being put into a landfill or something.
Sorry, Ted, they're hypocrites. They are, right? Of course. They talk about this and they flew
sanctimony generally breeds hypocrisy.
Spain. They went to Spain as well, by the way. So all of these hour times, planes don't fly using fucking solar or wind. They need fucking fuel. Yeah, what does fuel do? Pollutes the fucking atmosphere. So practice what you preach. So when Jodie Whittaker tells me to mind the seas and the plastic, not to be polluting, do you know what I hear? Blah 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 blah. blah. Right?
It's so sanctimonious, it's untrue. And the fact that they are so hypocritical there to lecture us about plastic and the environment, and they're jetting off around the fucking globe to South Africa. And then trying to sell plastic toys that don't sell, and then where does that go?
I'm being honest with you, right?
It's a ludicrous thing.
This has gone on too long now. We have to do something about it. So
now is the time. Now is the absolute right time. Yeah. Please
get behind this campaign. And I will throw up a video later on to actually encourage us all. I'll give you a few words of encouragement and ask fans to email.
And we've had a few people emailing Tim Davie already. So thanks to you. That's a really good start. Keep doing it.
Again, the most important thing though is if you have been a victim of bullying in the fandom, remember though, censor the person's name though, right? You don't want to
Well, I don't know if it's on Twitter. It's public record. So
Well, yeah, you've got a point there.
and
But-
it's done in private to a private individual.
Well, it is a
So-
private email, yeah. So get a use our tweets together or wherever what platform you are on, and if you are being abused in a vile way, add them to your email. Add them to your email to show him that this is how this fandom behaves. I guarantee you that if he went into Gallifrey base himself and he was actually on Twitter and having a look, he would be disgusted and ashamed at the way that that side of the fandom actually carry on. And I will say that some of the Not My Doctor, not all of them, right? Because there are some genuine people that are in that group, but they use the hashtag, they refuse to use another one. That's just a personal preference. But what I'll say is that there's some nasty, vile individuals within that group as well. But the hashtags that we have asked people to use are the ones that have been trending. RIP Doctor Who. That seems to be the most popular one, to be honest. Lee, what was the other hashtags you mentioned as well?
Hashtag sack Chibnall, hashtag sack Wenger. I think also Capaldi for who.
Yeah, Capaldi.
When you do your emails, make a suggestion that they should hire Peter Capaldi to be showrunner. I think that's a great idea. Listen, the longest shot in history, but fuck it. What have we got to lose at this stage? Do it anyway. It's a great idea. I love it in principle. And hey, who can argue?
Capaldi for showrunner.
Capaldi for showrunner. Yeah, hashtag Capaldi for showrunner.
Capaldi. So I'm putting
show Capaldi your love. He's a great man, and we appreciate everything he's done for this family.
Remember, he's an Oscar winner for producing. And
look. Let's be honest. A lot of the ideas that Stephen Moffat put into, I think at least his final season, was ideas that came from Capaldi himself, and I don't think we would have got World Enough in Time without that. And I think that was a great mondasian we got to see the Mondasian side. We got to see a lot of classic stuff within his era. I think a lot of that came from Capaldi himself. So I think he's filled with ideas. I would love to see them transpire on the screen with a new Doctor, a new team. I mean, it could be fantastic. I mean, that shit will fly off the shelf like nobody's business. That will re-engage people back into Doctor Who again. I have no doubt in my mind.
Wow, I'm just seeing something interesting on Twitter. But we'll say no more. It's got to do with the election, and I promise, Cheryl, I won't talk politics. But yeah, it looks like the shit is hitting the fan. The president is going to make a president's press conference at 6:30 if anybody's interested. I think that's American time, isn't it? I don't know, so that might be 12.
Well, I mean, they've got three different time zones.
We've got a good few hours to go, but apparently there's going to be a press conference. We'll see what you have
so
to
Noel,
yeah.
What do you think about this idea? If we're going to do a private Blake 7 watch along, we're on series 2. I don't know if anyone in the chat would be interested in joining us in a private stream.
Oh yeah, actually, Clobber in Time says he's hoping to get home in time. So yeah, if Clobber in Times, if you can get back. But if there's anybody else that's in the chat that wants to join us privately, let me know. Send me your email address. I'm on Twitter. I'm also on.
But only join us if you've got access to the episodes. I think Noel might have a link. I've got BritBox.
Well, we're on YouTube now. I think season 2.
I think some of them are still on YouTube. I don't know how many episodes there are on YouTube now.
No, hold on. I'll check now because I'm pretty sure the whole of season 2 is actually on YouTube. Because if not, I'm actually a bit screwed now because they had the whole of season 1 on that other site that I was using. But I don't think, hold on, you might hear, oh no, you won't hear Leah's intro there. I'm on my channel, but sometimes his intro comes on, but because we're live. So Blake 7 season 2. And by the way, if you haven't watched Blake 7, you know, I mean, Lee pestered me for fucking months.
Oh, Lord Thoth has got all the DVDs. So if you want to join us, so we're going to, within, I guess, the next half hour or so, next hour, we'll be watching some episodes from season 2, first
yeah,
few
to bring
episodes.
the dog and all down. Cheryl said she's down to bed, so I'm going to bring the dog and all down because I said I would because I'm a bit better now. So have to do me part.
Chris says the BBC removed. No, they're. I mean, in the UK, I don't know if on the other side of the pond if they're still up, but there are still some episodes still on YouTube or we're allowed
No,
to.
I think all of season 2 is there, mate. Remember when I was checking, because I only swapped over because I told you that it would be handier just on the other side.
But I mean, obviously, it's easier and better if you do actually own or have access to them, and you have access to them to join us.
Hold on, is season 2's first episode called Redemption?
Yes.
Right. Well, then we have it, and then I have now Blake 7 season 2. That's episode 7. So they're there. They're just all over the place. So,
right. Let's have a look.
Episode season 2, episode 11 there. Oh, some of them are on for over an hour. Oh.
Yeah, they might be. Yeah, there might be like a mix of.
Well, we'll go into this chap here. See what he has. Hold on. I don't want to play. I don't want to get a copyright strike. So hold on. Let's see. Does these other episodes pop up? So we have Redemption there. Let's see. Because I do want to watch a few more. Down, because that ended on a cliffhanger. See, you have BritBox, don't you? See, we don't get BritBox over here because you Brits hate us. Fuck's sake.
Well, it originally was released in America.
Yeah,
and I had to pay. I had to use a VPN to pay them money to be able to stream from there because hold on a minute.
Right,
but yeah,
here's episode 2. Right, so episode 2 is there. That's a weird intro. Did they change the intro for this one?
No, they changed the intro for season 4, or 3 or 4, I think. It's definitely season 4. No, season 4, I think.
Right. Well, there's the keeper. Well, I have the first 2. We'll figure out the rest might be on daily mode, or we'll just figure out something. But we are doing that. So if anybody wants, as Lee has pointed out, if you have it and you want to join us, we don't go live. It's just we're in the studio, we watch it together, and we just have a little chat, as you know, as friends do. We have a bit of a laugh as well. So if you want to join us,
if you want to join us, send Noel a message on
or
Twitter.
send Lee even a message, and Lee can let me know if it's easier to get me or easier to get in touch with Lee. It doesn't make a difference.
So you can find me on Twitter and under the Temple of the Golden Asda.
Oh, and I might as well mention it because he's in the chat. Lee Anthony Davis has made me an admin of his Blake 7 group.
Excellent.
He should make you an admin, actually, not me, because you're.
But I'm not on Facebook, really. So.
Oh, you're not on Facebook, yeah. But listen, it's an honor to be our admin, and thank you. I did actually. The first post I put up in the group was rumor. Chris Chibnall wants to reimagine Blake 7. Hasn't gone down too well. Hasn't gone down.
I knew it wouldn't. My instant gut reaction was sheer horror.
It hasn't gone down too well on Twitter either.
No.
You know, that's the nature of the game. You know.
Well, I think that sends a strong signal that the BBC shouldn't mangle this. I mean, bringing it back is one thing that's highly contentious. Bringing it back under Chris Chibnall, seriously, I mean, that's the definition of insanity.
Come here, you'd have some bleeding fucking popcorn looking thing playing Avon.
Yeah.
Right.
Avon is without doubt is without doubt the greatest TV character ever created, next to and up there with the Fourth Doctor, in my opinion.
Well, what could we call the female version of Blake? Blakey?
Oh God. Blakette.
Blakette. Yeah.
Blake Arena. Or if it's a black Blake, female Blake, La Blaker. I don't know.
Listen, here's the thing.
La Blakisha.
It's not going to be like the one that we know. He's gonna race swap somewhere. He's gonna gender swap somewhere, and it's gonna be full of woke nonsense. And in fairness, I have to say, my favorite character is the same as Liz. Avon is brilliant. You couldn't get another actor or actress to play him. I'm sorry, it's just a unique character, and his one-liners are just absolutely spot on every time.
The delivery, and that's the thing. It goes back to what I said. It's lightning in a bottle. You can replace the characters, but you can't replace the actors who played those characters.
Right.
And those characters are defined by those actors. Change the actor, you don't get the same magic. I'm sorry.
Right, listen, I'm gonna have to finish up because Cheryl's put some cream on me back before the pain, just so the pain doesn't kick back in. And then I'm gonna bring Ted down to walk. But Lee, you can hang on, obviously, after we finish going, after we end the stream, and we'll watch some Blake 7. So if anybody wants to join us, Clobbering Times, and of course Lord
Lothoff is busy tonight, apparently.
All right, okay.
For some reason, he seems to think there's something more important to do tonight than watch Blake 7. I don't understand it either, but fair enough.
I'm quite shocked.
Whatever weird shit you're doing that isn't Blake 7, good on you.
Yeah, good on you.
Maybe reconsider your life choices. Lord.
Right, do me a favor, Lee, before we go, just give your channel a shout out. Let everybody know where they can find you. And as I said, I'll get the old wifey to put the cream on for me, but I think she's going to put gloves on her this time because the cream actually affected our hand. So, because it's good cream.
Right, Tiger. Bit of cream in your back.
You walk away there, and Ted's going to start barking. So what I'll do is I'll mute myself.
Okay.
You give your shout out, and then remember we're back tomorrow, guys. And the Mandalorian season 1 review is going up straight after this. It's already monetized, and I'm gonna make it go. I'm gonna make it live now in a second for you guys, so you can go and watch that again. Go and watch season 1 review. It was a good little video. Right,
there we go.
Go ahead, Lee.
Yep, you can find my channel with my CGI stuff on there that I'm doing. I'm still learning, so you can grow with me. And if you need some rebranding for your own channels, or you want a bit of 3D work done for you, let me know. Very competitive prices, as I'm still learning, so I'm not going to charge you the earth, because half the time I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm banging my head, learn a few things from some tutorials just to get myself going. So I've only been using Blender which is the software I use, for just a couple of months or so, a few months since I did Noel's titles, first one. Can't remember. It's all a blur under lockdown. But yeah, if you need some work, let me know. It's my channel. You want to know that? There it is. It's up there for you. Thanks, Chris. It's Ordred Audio Visual. And it's all on there. I'm going to start adding some music stuff that I've done in the past up there as well. So if you need some music as well, because all the visual stuff I do comes with music. If you want music, I've got that shit sorted as well. I've been doing it.
He uses non-copyrighted music, because as you can tell, none of my streams get affected. So he's very good at that as well. Listen, the work that he's done for me. And I'm not just saying this because Lee is a friend. I mean, look, you've seen the work that he does.
Thanks,
he
Daniel.
puts a lot of effort into it. And you know, even amidst this, he gets better and better. But look at even the first trailer that he's put together for me, which is the main channel trailer. It's absolutely epic. And when he showed me, he blew me away with it. But I didn't think he could top that. But he has. He has, and he won't mind me saying that. You should the classic Who trailer and the new Who trailer for the stream-alongs are absolutely fantastic. And even the Tarzan Talks one is that I love that little shimmer at the end as well, and the way it rotates around. He's very clever the way he does stuff. So please, because, you know, I'll plug Lee.
I've done a new one. I've done a new one which is yet to come out, but it's Dave Travels Through Time is in the chat there. I've done one for him. If someone could put his channel in there as well.
Deserved, by the way.
Hopefully I'll have that ready by the beginning of next week.
Yeah, and it's well deserved as well, because I tell you why, that guy is
great guy.
Taking a bit of stick. in this fandom as well, and it's unjustified. I'm getting a bit upset about it because I think it's fucking highly disgusting that some people out there in this fandom will go and attack the vulnerable, which we have seen a lot of. And you know, when Lee told me he was doing this for Dave, I said no, but you know what? Fair play to Lee, but that just goes to show how good that Lee is. I mean, and I've seen it. I've had a sneak peek, and I have to say I was a little bit jealous. It is absolutely wonderful. Wait till you see, you're gonna love it. It's a great piece of work. And Dave, I'm delighted for you. You know, it's gonna look good on your at the start of your streams, mate. I have to say, it's gonna really make the channel. Not that it already hasn't, but it's gonna make the channel pop even more. And I have to say, if it hadn't been for Lee rebranding my channel, I don't think I would have grown as much as I've grown, because you have to kind of look a little bit professional with your channel. If you, I mean, you've all seen that the covers I was using for the channel before Lee rebranded my channel. It looked kind of icky and not really professional, but now it looks all professional. And you kind of need that look. So thank you again, Lee. And if there is anybody out there that wants any work done, he does them at reasonable prices. He is your man. And I'm going to leave you with some of his trailers. So tomorrow we got the TARDIS Zone talk. So I already dropped that little promo. But on Saturday we return with Do you know what I love about that logo, right? I love the edge, but the end of it, the way you have the Doctor Who shimmering, and then it just goes into the kind of the modern kind of thing, the way you just stop it, and then it comes right in front. That is brilliant.
I was quite pleased with that. It's a nice little bit of editing there.
It is. It is.
I was happy with it.
Here I was thinking, that trailer is great, isn't it, folks? And then he goes, by the way, I'm doing you a new Who one. And I go, and of course, I've already told the story, but I explained it wrong. Cheryl had to explain it offline. Cheryl's going to go to bed now. No, I'm going to take him out. I'm taking him out now.
Hello, Cheryl.
Right, I better just listen. Here's the new Who one. And that's the new Who trailer. I was excited, but we might as right. Okay.
Go and sort your life out. I'll be waiting in the background. I'm going to go and get some tobacco actually from the shop. So
yeah, not about it. Right, so I'm going to leave us with the main trailer anyway. Lee, thanks for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow. You know, the joys of being married, folks. The joys of being married, I tell you.
And don't forget, if you want to join us, let us know in DMs on Twitwats, and let us know if you've got your Blake 7. If you want to join us, you're more than welcome. And that'll be in the next, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour or something. I don't know.
Well, no, whenever. She's going to bed now anyway. That's why.
Okay, well, I mean, okay, in the next half hour or something. So, yeah.
Right, yeah, give Lee a half an hour because he might need to have a cup of tea and stuff and something to eat.
I need to go to the shop.
He said, go to the shop, yeah. So yeah, give us a half an hour, but send us a message, either myself or Lee, let us know, and we will add you to this. We'll be adding you to this stream that we have here, because it stays open even after we finish up. Right, I better go on the last trailer bit, because if she comes up and I'm still talking, she'll bleed. And
she'll clobber you one. Yeah, be clobbering time for real.
She'll hit you with a frying pan. No, she just wants to go to bed. And fairness,
yeah, she's tired, and I don't blame her. Look, it's stressful times as well. So you know, That's
So,
understandable.
yeah, that's it. So here's the trailer that he did originally for me. This was the first trailer, and as I said, if you want any work done by Lee at reasonable prices, he is your guy. Go and check out his channel, and I'm sure all the links are up there. So good night, folks. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you tomorrow for the Tarda Zone Talks. Don't forget, the Mandalorian Season 1 review is going up right after this stream ends. Talk to you later. Good night. See you, Lee.
Good night.
Say good night to everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.